30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Randall giving the ball, Thunder by 2. Lobs it. It's in the air. Gathered by Dub. The Thunder win it. 128-126. They're 1 win away are the young Thunder, the top seed in the West, from advancing to the NBA Finals.
Thank you to the Thunder Radio Network, and good morning. Welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, and yeah, Thunder on the brink of getting to the finals. Shai was 1 rebound away from a 40-point triple-double last night. That whole 42-point loss they had the other night, erased that. This was a back-and-forth one, really close. Crucial free throws down the stretch from Shai. Jalen Williams had a great game. Chet Holmgren as well. But the question, obviously, Pearl, and good morning.
Good morning.
Is about Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
Who was not awesome last night, especially offensively. 5 for 13, 16 points after he had scored 62 points over the last 2 games combined. So you got to credit Lou Dort. You got to credit Alex Caruso. They had this really effective game plan against Anthony Edwards to keep the ball out of his hands.
Yeah, wait. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm asking you this question. If Anthony Edwards and the T-Wolves are bounced in the next game, and obviously bounced in this round again, is this more disappointing or is it more predictable? Because you've been saying Thunder are just the best team. So is there any shame to losing to them?
So you watched last night's game, and you said the problem with the T-Wolves was Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
I
think there's
the
a
final
lot.
score
Julius
was-
Randle's a problem, yes, but
No,
I
none
don't
of these
expect
guys are-
anything from Randle.
It was a 128 to 126. They put every single resource they had into covering Anthony Edwards, and the entire team was wide open the rest of the game, and they scored at will. They had 126 points. So there was no problem with Anthony Edwards. There was no problem with offense. Their problem was 100% defense and turnovers, but defense.
Yeah, the turnovers for sure.
I mean, they
23
couldn't stop
turnovers
the
in this
Thunder
game.
at all. Anthony Edwards would drive in the lane and pass to about 6 guys who were wide open. They said, we're not putting a guy on Rudy. We're not putting a guy on Dante. That guy will be shadowing behind Dort to make sure Anthony Edwards doesn't get off. And they scored 126 points. They had a million wide open shots. The problem is they have no answers defensively. They let up 128 points. The problem is all defense. I don't want to hear about Anthony Edwards. He was creating open shots all over the court for everybody.
Okay, but is there also not something about looking for your shot, which he was doing in the last game? So it's not like you can't do this. It's not like we haven't seen him be super aggressive. We watched it literally in game 3.
And
it was amazing. And so why don't we get the consistent offensive performances? Obviously, I know the answer. I know
they
that
were
it's
boxing
defense.
wanting him. For all intents and purposes, they were boxing wanting him because there one guy would face guard him the entire length of the court. There was always a guy shadowing. There was always a guy with eyes on Anthony Edwards. And they literally like, anyone else wants to shoot a wide open 3?
No,
have at it.
They couldn't. And Randall was 1 for 7. And I get that. Jaden McDaniels can get to the hoop. I mean, especially at the end of the game, he was kind of keeping the score close because he could get to the rack at will. But yeah, I just think you're going to look back on this, and if OKC completes the mission here and they're going to get the next chance on their home court, I think you're going to be disappointed in Edwards while also giving Oklahoma City their flowers. No doubt. I'm not trying to make this just the Anthony Edwards show, but I think you're not going to say, oh, this was so predictable. I think most people, maybe not you, went into this series and thought this could be a series. And it turns out not really.
Well, no, I think it has been a series. It was 2-1, and it was a 2-point game last night.
Yeah, but the games haven't been close. I mean last
Thunder
night we finally got a close one.
I think this has played to the odds we expected. Thunder came in pretty heavy favorites. I mean, I just think they have no answer for SGA. This is the best SGA's ever played in the playoffs.
Yeah, he was awesome.
He seems to have them like a puppeteer. He's doing whatever he wants. And I'm disappointed in Chris Finch. That's the best effort you could come up with defensively. That's your plan.
Right.
Just let him score at will, and we'll just go home and it's pretty, like what adjustment has Minnesota made? Name a single coaching adjustment they've made. Nothing. They've done nothing. They've tried Gobert on. They tried Gobert off. They can't stop two guys, Jalen Williams and SGA. Make somebody do what the Oklahoma City's do. Make somebody else shoot the ball. Give somebody else a wide open three. They did. So
Game 3, obviously.
Right. In Game 4, I'm saying they used Chet's man to double, and that killed them last night because Chet finally hit his shots. But honestly, I think the problem is they cannot stop SGA. I don't know how to do that.
Mid-range God. What I was trying to say.
So
you've picked apart his game. It's not exciting.
Yeah.
We had a caller last week taking it to task that you don't understand. You're missing the magic. He's zagging when everyone else is zigging. That whole thing. But now he's the mid-range God.
Right. To get back to it, to me, that Anthony Edwards, it's not predictable or unpredictable. The team is much worse. He's not as good a player as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
That's true.
SGA is the MVP. Anthony Edwards has never won the MVP. He does get a lot of hype because he's so exciting.
Right.
But he's 23. The question is, by the time he's 26, where SGA is, will he be a championship level player? So anyone who thought he was there now, I will agree, he was not.
It was premature. And that's the thing. Nobody was saying, SGA, wow, the next Jordan. But that's what they were saying about Anthony Edwards. Games are different, obviously. It looks a little bit different. I think
they were saying the next Jordan,
the
way he play, his style of play is Jordan-esque.
Right.
But not that he's Michael Jordan in the winning level. There was a big distinction. Don't you think? Or do you think that people were saying, he's the next Jordan, he's going to pull 6 titles?
Well, I mean, nobody is going to... that the bar on that is like crazy. It's like when we call draft picks, he's the next Mahomes. Like, it's just so silly when people do that. But it wasn't just like pundits. It was basketball people. It was...
Saying what?
Saying that he looked like the next Michael Jordan. But obviously there's things that are clearly missing here, right? Like, it's whether it's not having a good enough team around him, whether it's not having a good enough coach around him. Although I think Chris Finch actually is a really good coach. But last night, you're right. I mean... Where is the adjustment? I mean, you're just going to let SGA go off for 40?
They don't. Anthony Edwards is not a defensive player at all, right? They don't.
He's a good defender. I wouldn't say that.
Well, they don't put him on SGA.
No, because they don't want to waste him. But
he's McDaniel.
But they put him on Luka last year during stretches because he is a good defender. It's just.
Well, I don't think he's a Michael Jordan level or a LeBron level defender. I don't even think he's close.
Well, maybe not at this moment.
He's very good. I mean,
it's not like he's a liability.
He's a very good defensive player, though. That's
funny. I don't think of him as a get-after guy because the few times that he did get SGA cooked him immediately.
So, and obviously you have Nikhil Alexander-Walker guarding SGA quite a bit, too, if you didn't know they're cousins.
Jane McDaniels, no chance.
They mention it every time down the floor.
I was thinking that. I saw Alexander and thought about it.
I know, because it's such a common last name. But anyway.
When SGA gets DiVincenzo, and then they kept letting Gobert switch on to him, I'm like, they have no idea what to do with this man.
Well, so I think the question is, and maybe, EJ, this is worth a poll, would it be disappointing or predictable if the T-Wolves, if Anthony Edwards and the T-Wolves, put it that way, because he is the face. You think he could be the next face of the league. Obviously, there's a long way to go for that. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. So it's exciting if you're an OKC fan or Shea fan or Chet fan, whatever, J-Dub, that they're one game away from the finals. The first time since it was Durant and Westbrook and Harden.
A lot of big J-Dub fans out there nationally. Isn't it? He's awesome. But I actually...
First you have to determine which one.
Well, I was wondering about
J Will.
And then there's J-Dub. Obviously, get your Jalen Williams. This is right.
I was wondering, are we looking at the 2015 Warriors in the sense that is this the beginning of a massive run from the Thunder?
What do you think?
I don't know. And
did you think that about Boston?
Yes. That's what I wonder. Like, I can't decide which. Is this closer to Boston? But, Oklahoma City Thunder is much younger than Boston was last year. And their players are hitting their peak where I guess Boston had been there already. It does feel, the thing about the 2015 Warriors struck the NBA like thunder.
Yep.
Yeah, see what I did there?
Yeah.
Because no one knew how to cover that 3-point passing game. Like they were like, whoa, we haven't seen this. Nobody knows how to cover the Oklahoma City Thunder's mid-range game. They just get their feet in the paint and you can't stop them. So maybe it is a revolution that we're seeing. A boring revolution. But
maybe our caller from last week was right, that it's back to the zag of the 2-point game.
Yes, exactly.
But the only part about that is sometimes the math won't work up. Like, that's the whole deal about why the 3-point revolution came.
But
it's a math equation.
But the league adjusted with these tall long wings to stop the 3-point shot, and then none of them can stop anyone else's dribble. So guys like Jalen Brunson and SGA are taking advantage of it. So the league zag to cover the 3-point line, but nobody can stop a ball handler.
Yeah.
So that's my deep basketball theory. It could be wrong, but it doesn't feel like anyone. The Thunder come down on an offense, and the defense like, I don't know what to do here. The SGA, they can't stop his dribble.
888-710-4ISN. All right. So I got a couple things for you there. Are Oklahoma City, are they about to go on a Warriors-like run? Yeah. See, the one thing that was different about the reigning champs, obviously, in Boston is it felt like they were overdue in some ways.
Yeah, they had earned their point. They've been working up to that.
Right. And it was like they'd been to the Eastern Conference Finals, obviously, many times. It felt like, is this Tatum and Brown thing, like, when is it ever going to work? Is it going to work? They went through a coaching change. Coach goes to the front office. Just so much stuff had happened. They had to switch out some major role players. And then it happened. I don't know. I guess for Oklahoma City, it would feel a little more straightforward. Like, oh, your first finals appearance, and then the floodgates would kind of open, and you're
kind of
off
like
to
the
races.
Warriors. Like the Warriors won the finals in 2015, I think, and then the next year they came out and won 73 games. I could easily see this Thunder team winning 73 games next year.
Yeah.
Like Chet Holmgren's getting better. They might be the dynasty that we've been missing. And then meanwhile, you started out by asking about Anthony Edwards. What's poor Anthony Edwards supposed to do against a machine like this?
Well,
What
he's
is he
a
gonna do?
force. Like
What's he supposed to do?
He's supposed to play better.
Play
okay?
better in what sense? Like score more?
Yes, he's got to not turn the ball over. He had 5 turnovers. We talk about the turnovers being an issue. He said it was an issue. He had 5 of them.
Yeah, 23 turnovers.
He had a bad night. There's no doubt about it.
13 in the first half for Minnesota.
He had a bad night. There's no doubt about it. But they put everything. They're basically essentially box and wanting him the whole time. He's getting open shots for everybody. Everybody's just standing there without a guy on him because everyone's watching Anthony Edwards. They scored 126 points. So if you're saying the problem is anything on the offense, I'm just not buying it.
But then what happens in those plays in the first half, he basically doesn't shoot. And in the second half, he takes 12, 13 shots. So it's not like, it's not like they changed defenses in the second half. So you know what, we're actually going to let Anthony Edwards shoot. Like Anthony Edwards realized, I actually can be aggressive. I can get shots. Where was that in the first half? So that's why I don't buy this. He just was a helpless little lamb in the middle with all these hyenas, and he couldn't do anything about it.
What's he supposed to do when the guy's like he's got a corner
He's the
three?
fastest, strongest, quickest guy on the court. He showed that he can get to the rim. He showed that in the second half.
So he's not supposed to give the guy to that corner three that's the easiest shot in the NBA?
No, of course he's supposed to get that. Those guys were getting shots. My point, though, is that aggression, they were down most of this game. You're talking like they were winning. They were up 20 points. They were down. They needed more from him.
Yeah.
Those guys
needed a stop. Stop any point of the game. They needed to stop SGA, and they could not do it.
They definitely needed stops, but I just think when you're talking about some of the greatest players we have in this league, I think to look at that performance and he had 16 points and 5 turnovers and say, well, nothing he could do about it, it's not enough.
Well,
it's not enough from him.
So that first half, just to put a cap on it, Anthony Edwards was 1 for 2. It was 2 for 3 from the free throw line, 4 points, and it was a -9 in the plus-minus. I think the other question, too, is you win by 42 in Game 3. Was there any part of Minnesota that thought, all right, we're not gonna be totally embarrassed in this series, right? Now this was a back and forth game and up down to the last 2.3 seconds and then 0.3 seconds, and by golly, I mean, how many commercial breaks can you take at the end of a game? But that's a gripe for another segment. We do the M&P 500 coming up in a little bit.
Nice.
Where my stock down is going to be, well, whatever. Way down.
Don't give it out. Don't give it out.
I'm not going to. But woof. Anyway, thank you. I know this was a close game. I know it was a back and forth game. But was there any part of Minnesota that let their foot, I'm not going to say off the gas because they didn't get blown out in this game, but any part of them that was like, all right, we got our one?
No, not at all. I mean, I think they gave pretty full effort last night. I mean, SGA just can't miss a shot. What are you supposed to do? You got the MVP on the other side. He's 6'6". He's an impossible matchup. Again, I mentioned the Warriors. He's Steph Curry, but the mid-range Steph Curry. I see what you're saying, that maybe they let down, but did you see any lack of energy? Because they were trying.
No,
they just couldn't stop him.
It's not about like the try. You always wonder, right, about how you rebound. It's, for the team that got blown out, it's obvious. You have everything to correct. You're embarrassed.
Oh,
you're
but that was a load man. That was an in-series load manage.
I mean, it was just a complete unwatchable game.
But did anyone think that meant anything about the Thunder? I don't think so. I thought okay, we're losing this game. Let's call off the dogs and rest for Game 4 or Game 5.
Yeah, Game 4. Can I ask you another question here? We talk about Anthony Edwards, face of the league, and the Jordan comparisons came way too soon and all of that. What about SGA? I don't think we're having that conversation about him. And he's got the looks, he's got the charisma.
Charisma?
Yeah.
In what sense?
I don't know. He's got a funny commercial. Like, what more do you need? Where the bar's pretty low for athletes. It's not like you have to go out there and tap dance. You have to win an EGOT.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, because
it can't be small market. Because we've had plenty of guys who have been faces of the league from smaller markets.
Well, maybe he will be the face of the league. It's possible.
It just doesn't seem like he gets that treatment. Am I wrong about that?
He's like the two-guard version of Tim Duncan. He doesn't dunk and he doesn't really shoot threes. So
he's way more exciting than Tim Duncan.
So you can't be the face of the league if you don't dunk enough.
I mean, this is if on the scale of Vince Carter versus Tim Duncan being the most boring player ever, and Vince Carter being the most exciting player ever, he's closer to Tim Duncan in my mind.
Okay, but if it was just about dunking ability, then wouldn't Zach LaVine be the face of the league or something like that?
5 ran the NBA, yes. 3's done. Zach LaVine's my favorite player of all time.
Games, Perloff.
Well, I mean, Zach LaVine actually played really well at the end of the year. Very efficient offensively.
Great net playing.
I'm just saying, why are we just saying slam dunk Shai's the face of the league? Because no one's saying that, by the way.
Yeah, I think it's something I mean, I don't know. Yeah, Allen Iverson couldn't dunk. There's other guys who couldn't dunk that were. Magic Johnson wasn't a dunker. Larry Bird wasn't a dunker.
Magic Johnson had all sorts of flair. And Bird had all sorts of flair. I don't see that from SGA. In fact, I don't know. It's just it when you see it. It's one of those things. It's like the definition of pornography. You know it when you see it. And I don't really see it with SGA. But if he wins a bunch of MVPs and titles, then we'll see it.
Yeah, maybe just slice some porn in there.
Yeah, what are the highlights? Think about Anthony Edwards is probably the 5th or 6th best player in the NBA, or even lower. But at least he took off from 12 feet away and dunked the ball once.
If Penix looks really good,
I think Holmgren's actually kind of exciting. He's got some
very different.
He's got some excitement. He's a fascinating player. SGA is just wildly efficient.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. I got a couple things percolating for you. Is Perloff letting Anthony Edwards off the hook? I think you got to give him a D. I said that. Asking, is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander now the face of the league? Why does that seem like such a hard question to answer?
That's an easy question to answer.
No.
Not a face that anyone's looking at.
I mean, he's pretty guapo. It's not a bad face.
I'm saying
that's just being, very surface level.
I introduced my cousins this weekend to a Skims commercial, and they were very, very pleased.
These are female cousins.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, face of the league means like exciting. Everyone can't wait to tune into the finals to watch them, like Michael Jordan and LeBron James.
Sure.
He ain't in that conversation.
It's funny. The last couple MVPs have not been in that conversation because no one's saying it's Jokic, and few people, I think, said it was Giannis.
I need to go home.
No, Giannis is definitely closer to the Tim Duncan scale, but he can dunk.
Giannis it can be extremely
I'm telling you,
exciting.
the face of the league is in the NBA right now. I keep telling you guys.
It's not in the NBA.
No, he's in the NBA right now. There's a face of the league.
It's not Zion. Stop trying to make that happen.
It's Victor Wembanyama, or as I call him, Wembusyama.
Yeah, you predicted that one.
It's LeBron. Until LeBron and Curry retire, it's those guys. And then, right in there, the tall French man. Wembusyama?
888-710-4ISN. Let's get it going, guys. Hope you had a great Memorial Day and honoring those who served and sacrificed, and also hopefully had yourselves a little bit of fun or relaxation or whatever. Thank you to EJ for holding down the show yesterday. Fantastic job keeping the level as high as can be.
He is like really the straw that makes the drink go.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better. We have all of our normal Monday MMP stuff that we're just going to do today because it's Tuesday, but who cares? We'll do the MMP 500. We've got updates for you on all of your favorite athletes, from Aaron Rodgers to Shedeur Sanders, and, of course, Bill Belichick, the story that won't die. 888-710-4ISN. Anthony Edwards, what'd you think of him last night? Can Shai be the face of the league? Let's go.
Day by day.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Okay, welcome back, Maggie Perloff. I feel like Jon Snow in that meme of Game of Thrones defending Anthony Edwards after last night. Yes, the turnovers were sloppy. drawing a sword, and I knew this was going to happen because the halftime show, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is having one of the great playoff games of all time, and it's Stephen A. Smith and his cronies screaming that Anthony Edwards has to score more for 20 minutes. I'm like, they have 58 points. Scoring is not the problem. They haven't gotten a stop since the beginning of the game.
I'm in no mood.
So I'm actually wondering, you watch this, I'm like projecting ahead. Can the Knicks or the Pacers do anything different? This guy he's unbelievable. We're seeing the best. He's better than Jokic was at his peak 2 years ago. He is incredible. And it's really hard to wrap your head around it. It seems like nobody cares, Maggie.
It's not that nobody cares, although we're asking you, like, why isn't it more of a, pardon the pun, slam dunk that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is not just the next face of the league? Why is he not being called the second coming, the next LeBron, the next Steph Curry, whatever you want to say?
Yeah.
Because it seems like he's got everything else. He's about to be in the finals if they can just close this out. He's got the national commercials. He's got an MVP. I mean,
well, it's the style of play, right? We say got everything else. He doesn't have what LeBron had. He's not LeBron. LeBron was 6'9", played like Magic Johnson combined with Shaq.
Sure.
Steph Curry was 10 feet beyond the three-point line. He doesn't have that. He doesn't have the titles of Michael Jordan. So everything else, he's missing a lot of the things.
Okay, I mean, I guess.
What does he have?
Well, I mean, now you think that he might go on a Warriors-type dynasty run. Wouldn't that be something?
It hasn't happened yet, though. That's the thing. Maybe 3 titles in, people will care about SGA. But I sense that, especially if the Pacers get through, this will be, not that it matters, but it'll be a low-rated final because I don't think he's quite capturing the imagination of the basketball public yet. And that's not his fault. Like, for example, last night's game, he was amazing in the first half. His name didn't even come up, barely in the halftime show. It was all about Anthony Edwards.
Well, I mean, the halftime show, though.
It's indicative of something. It shows where people's interest lies. ESPN, we make fun of it, but they know where to press the buttons. Everyone knows Cowboys, LeBron. Like, I think that they're like, well, I don't think people are interested in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's too consistent, too efficient. They're fascinated with Anthony. Anthony Edwards is like us. He goes up and he goes down.
Yeah.
Like, that's much more interesting, isn't it?
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Andrew Bogusch is with us. It's got headlines. Looked like a busy weekend for you, Bogues.
Oh, we did a lot.
I know.
Two baseball, and we survived. My wife was gone the whole weekend and survived in advance.
Oh, right. This was the girls' trip, so you had the kids, and you just basically took them to Citi Field all weekend?
From Thursday night until yesterday morning, I was solo parenting, and thankfully we had a calendar full of events.
It's always easier.
Yes.
When you don't have to fill the time with, what do you want to do? What do you want to do?
Yeah. Now, we had rain at a Met game on Friday. It was weirdly hot, then cold, and hot, then cold all weekend here.
You stayed for the fireworks on Friday night, right?
The ones that began at 12:45 a.m.
Yeah,
Stayed for those as well.
Sure.
Yeah. Yep. Thanks
Like
for
I
checking in. Yeah, Manny was texting me at the game as if he was 3 rows behind me. I didn't like it. That's a nice shirt. What are you guys doing? What's for lunch?
Listen, dog, I have my eyes on everything.
Yeah, I did not like it.
Do you need to?
I'm like a fly. I have a bunch of different eyes everywhere.
It was very strange. I literally looked around thinking that you were like at the top of the staircase, like randomly at a Met game, wanted to come say hello.
I might have flown over and I saw you guys. You don't know.
Meanwhile, your headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Your small business keeps you on the go. Progressive Commercial Insurance keeps your policy within reach with our easy-to-use mobile app. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com. 40 points from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Nice, but he does need support.
Shai with 1:20 to play. Kicks left wing Dub, open. Snaps off a rainbow three. In there! Cha-chinga, J-Dub authored money ball. Oh, baby! 34 for Dub, a playoff career high. Shai's got 10 assists. Thunder back up 7.
Matt Pinto on Thunder Radio. OKC was up 7 then. They hung on for a 128-126 win in Minnesota for a 3-1 lead on the T-Wolves, with Jalen Williams scoring 34 on 6 threes. He and SGA both setting playoff career highs, and the MVP appreciated the help.
He was special. He was really good tonight. From start to finish, he picked the spots great. He was aggressive. He stepped into everything. He was who he is. He's gotten all these awards this year for a good reason, and he proved it tonight.
The T-Wolves, meanwhile, could not build on their 42-point rout in Game 3. They committed 23 turnovers. Anthony Edwards, as you've heard, scored just 16 points on only 13 shots. And Julius Randle went full Nick, hitting just 1 shot for 7 points.
He's already hard.
And now Wait,
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be in support of you.
Right, like you hate Randall now, right?
Not really, no. It's not like he left on his own volition. He just got sent away by the front office.
But didn't you have complaints about him?
I have complaints about everything.
No,
That's true.
this was the tale of 3 quarters versus 1 quarter of Karl Anthony Towns, Knicks, like passive aggressive relationship. Is it passive aggressive? It almost feels toxic at this point
It's very toxic.
between the Knicks fans and Karl Anthony Towns. Because I saw through 3 quarters, wow, would Randall have been better in this game?
Oh.
They shouldn't have traded for him. And then all of a sudden, here comes Cat is the reason why you're still in the series. So I think everyone's a little confused about Randall, but he was terrible last night. Back to you.
Basketball confuses me.
All considered, the T-Wolves now face elimination in OKC tomorrow night. The Carolina Hurricanes faced elimination last night in Game 4 in Florida.
Kachuk loses it. Carolina with a chance. Empty net. Jarvis across. Svechnikov hands it off. Empty net. Bingo! Carolina. Sebastian Aho drills it. And it's a 2-0 lead for the Canes with 2:11 left here in the third period.
Carolina surviving 3-0 behind 20 saves from Frederick Anderson. The win extends the series. It also snaps their 15-game losing streak in the Eastern Conference Final. 3 previous sweeps, almost a 4th, but now at least they get a Game 5 at home tomorrow night.
Guys,
Drought busted.
a slump buster lives.
Yeah.
3-1, not a sweep. Carolina maybe
my
could pull
God.
this off. And by the way,
Big if
Edmonton,
true.
I don't know if you're doing that.
They didn't play yesterday.
By the way,
So the game's tonight.
By the way, when you say maybe could pull that off, that's a wide loop for maybe. Yeah. What is it? Less
just
than,
needed one.
well less than 1% chance.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Florida's better, but the slump buster lives.
If the
And
Warriors,
by the way,
if
yes,
the Warriors can blow a 3-1 lead, so can the Panthers.
Yankees, I mean, it happens.
Well, whatever.
So I think slump buster lives, as I've deemed 2025 the year of the drought buster, which turned into slump buster. And by the way, I am going to if you guys are willing to give me first time champions, then I'm going to take it. And
Well,
that means basketball is happening. No matter
Hey,
what.
relax.
It's either the Knicks are going to break this long drought or
Yeah.
you're going to get a first time champ. So I'm good either way.
But you could have NHL being the Panthers, 2025 the Eagles who won in 17. So it could be, and the
Oilers
Dodgers will
could
probably
have
win.
a little revenge.
So if the Dodgers win again, are you going to have 3 of 4 within the last 5 years, and that's your year of the drought buster?
Dude, if Canada wins a cup, this was the
I
best
know.
take of all
I
time.
understand that, but they're going to be underdogs in the final. I'm saying if the Panthers win,
Well, if the Panthers win, then it gets a little
You would
blow to the year of the drought buster.
you would go the Eagles Panthers as your first 2 professional titles of that year. Kind of a odd fit.
But I got the NBA.
Did Perloff drop? I gave him a Hard Knocks note for you last week.
Oh, about the Bills being on Hard Knocks?
Yeah, but the drought that's connected to that. Did you mention this to her?
No, I did not.
So
Nobody on Hard Knocks is ever won a playoff game or something?
no one that's been on Hard Knocks has made the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah,
let
I mean, a
alone
lot of
won
them
it.
make the playoffs.
So there's a drought that your boy could break as well.
What a disgrace.
You
Just getting to the Super
You get
Bowl.
Josh Allen in the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
and God forbid he wins it. That's like a double drought
I don't
bust.
need the Hard Knocks thing on top of it. I
I'm
got
just
my
trying to
own
listen.
tortured history.
I'm trying to give you as much ammo here for your drought busting year.
Get HBO right off the hook.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. Nobody had ever won a Super Bowl in their home stadium until Tom Brady did it. I mean, all these things, no one had ever played in overtime until Tom Brady did it and won. So all these things are meant to be broken. All these slumps are meant to be
In
busted.
2025.
Well, the Super Bowl would technically be in 2026, but it's
That's this season.
grandfathered.
Yeah. Would count it.
Guys,
I'd allow it.
it lives.
I don't know. The goalposts kind of keep moving on this, but I digress.
Listen, it's not a one-size-fits-all thing, except it kind of is.
Kind of like your shoes.
My shoes are one-size-fits-most or some, but they're mostly lumberjacks, not women.
Caitlin Clark didn't miss a game at Iowa. She played every game of her WNBA rookie season, but now she has a left quad strain expected to miss at least 2 weeks. Clark got hurt at some point during Saturday's loss to the Liberty. The Fevers say this is not the same quad issue that Clark dealt with during this preseason. A.J. Cole is now the highest paid punter in the NFL. The Raiders reportedly signing the 3-time Pro Bowler to a 4-year extension. It guarantees him $11 million, a max value of $15.8 million.
I love special teams.
I feel like the Raiders always have a good kicker and punter, and it has amounted to absolutely nothing over the years, right?
True.
Hey,
Definitely
those
true.
punts inside the 5, though, that's the most exciting play in football.
I mean, I knew that A.J. Cole was their punter. I did not know that he was a multiple Pro Bowler.
I just found out about A.J. Cole.
Good
about
for him.
Who's
15
their
seconds ago.
kicker's awesome too, right? Do they have
Sebastian
one of Carlson?
Janikowski?
Yeah.
And
No,
Daniel
it's
Carlson.
Carlson,
Best
remember?
friends.
Because Genty had to pay him
Right.
$60K for the number.
Right, there's
Definitely
two Carl. I've said one of the Carlsons. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's one of the best in the league.
Oh, you said Sebastian. I thought you were talking about Sebastian Janikowski.
That's where we were
who's a
going, me and
former-
Manny.
Yeah.
Former
No, I said
Raider.
one of the Carlsons. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. I think he has a brother, right? They always have these guys. Sebastian Janikowski ended up being really good.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
First
I'd
round
hope
pick.
so.
And
Yeah,
that's
he's
nothing.
first round pick.
I think after they lost the Super Bowl, like they were awful for many, many years.
Sebastian Janikowski, the former Seahawks kicker?
Huh.
Yeah, that's right.
He
Hey,
did
your
a stint in
references are
Seattle.
Mhm. Go ahead,
I'm,
look it
mad,
up.
I'm mad you knew that.
I love special teams, guys.
By the way, I missed my guy Marquise King. He was awesome.
Oh, I remember.
He
him.
was great.
He was cool. Every time he would punt it inside the 10, he would just have that swagger about him.
Pat McAfee stole his whole gimmick, but I digress.
He was the only exciting punter for a long time. I don't know why exactly. What was he doing?
My dog.
McAfee stole his gimmick. What, just celebrating?
Yeah, just being like a fly kicker.
Let that naysayer know.
Smart.
No one had ever thought of it.
It worked. Nobody had that kind of swagger. And Marquette King came through, and he was punting inside the 5.
Yeah,
and
he had half
stunting
arm
and
sleeves and stuff.
And then Pat McAfee's like, "Ooh, there's a lane there."
Yeah, I think you're right.
McAfee should be cutting King some checks. He really did. Well, McAfee also is basically just doing WWE. So
Marquette
Exclamation point.
He was always on a thin line on social media. Like, ooh, is he going to go right over that one? Like he was like, you're right, exactly like McAfee.
top 5 most interesting punters of all time.
I think
McAfee?
it ends at 2. Reggie Roby. Reggie Roby, you guys are too young for this. Reggie
Not
Roby was
me.
a Dolphins kicker. He had the straight leg approach. It was bizarre looking.
Yep.
He was a household name.
What
right?
Tom Tupa? He came in for the Jets and threw like 2-3 touchdowns in the
Yeah.
game.
Tom Tupa, I think he was All-American quarterback.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He played when Vinny Testaverde tore his Achilles. And he had to come in week 1 and start, and threw like 2 touchdowns to Keyshawn Johnson.
Showed more passing ability than Aaron Rodgers in a Jets uniform.
Gosh, we're
much did.
quickly running out of famous punters, though. Do we have another one?
Matt Dodge, the guy who didn't kick
That's
it out of bounds.
infamous punters. He's in witness protection.
Good.
What's the punting god?
The punk got Matt Ariza.
He's
but,
a chief now, right?
Another
yeah.
infamous
I
guy.
Yeah.
mean, good luck figuring that whole thing out.
Let's do some baseball.
Yeah,
Last
let's
night
baseball.
in Cleveland,
Anything else?
He did it again.
So the right-hander into the wind. His first pitch is swung out and hammered deep to right field. It is gone. A home run for Ohtani.
That sounded loud.
Well, before you even had a chance to buckle your seatbelt, Ohtani makes it 1-0 with his major league leading 19th home run.
And his second leadoff homer in as many days. Tim Neverett called it on Dodgers radio. Ohtani starting LA towards a 7-2 decision over the Guardians. The Yankees took their opener in Anaheim 5-1. They've won 9 of 10.
That's right.
Arizona snapped the 5-game skid with a 5-0 shutout of the Pirates. And Cornell won its first men's lacrosse national title since 1977 yesterday, 13-10 over Maryland.
It's lax, bro.
It's life.
Can I just shout out? We didn't mention Shane Leckler was the longtime Raiders punter who might make the Hall of Fame. Like he's actually he is the next punter to get into the Hall of Fame, and we did not bring up his name in the
I remember.
Raiders punter discussion.
Apologies to Mr. Leckler.
I know.
Yeah.
How are we going to move
Jeez
on with
Louise.
the show?
Because his fans are definitely listening or angry.
Well,
Yelling at the
a lot of
radio.
Raider
He might
fans
be.
out there. A lot of Raider fans out there.
Sure, be on in the back.
Get PR to make a statement.
EJ whip up a statement.
Yeah. Which means
Run this one up the
EJ and
flagpole.
Cap, let's go.
I just feel
Cap,
like
get the
there's
graphics ready.
I mean, listen, the last 2 decades, all Raiders have had is good punters, and you had a punter headline.
But
That's
we
it.
mentioned him in the segment. We're
didn't
still
mention
doing the conversation.
the goat of all the Raiders punters, except for Ray Guy, of course. The second goat of all the Raiders punters.
Not mentioning Ray Guy till now is the real.
Right, we're talking about modern. It is crazy. Like no other show has ever brought up this tendency of Raiders punters to be awesome. We're breaking ground here, people.
You don't like this, you don't like sports talk radio.
Hang on for the ride. Hey, blame Bogusch. He had an AJ Cole contract headline. It's like 5
The
years,
Raiders,
11 million.
They gave him this money Memorial Day.
Yeah, you broke it down. You're like, and the cap ramifications of the AJ Cole contract are as
I got time to
follows.
fill.
Yes, welcome to the summer.
Lovely. 888-710-4ISN. Can't get that kind of content anywhere else. 888-710-4476.
You really can't.
Oh, no, you really can't. Not
Can't
hyperbole.
wait for the first punt inside the 5 this season.
That's going to be your lane in football, Manny. You like exciting punts?
It's on my Instagram bio. I love punts that ends up inside the 5.
He's a Giants fan. This is like basically a highlight for them.
Yeah.
You know what your Picasso was I've always thought back the best punting performance I feel like I've ever seen in my entire life. And we talk about Belichick now, we really clown him. That
Andy
second
Reid?
half with Blake Bortles' Jacksonville Jaguars when they had the Patriots on the ropes. Go back and look at that second half play-by-play. Yeah. Punt inside the 5, punt inside the 5, punt inside the 5. Those lefty punters that Belichick always loved freaking won the game for them. That was a tough one.
Special teams, special plays, special players.
I remember a special girl.
I remember one. I remember one Giants punt that actually went straight to Deshaun Jackson.
Okay, I already mentioned Matt Dodge 5 minutes ago, man.
Yeah.
Let's move on now.
That's the worst punt I've ever seen in my entire life.
I don't like Matt Dodge.
You and Matt Coughlin, or Tom Coughlin, Matt Coughlin.
Yeah, everybody hated that punt.
Poor Tom Coughlin never got over that one.
Manny never got over that one.
Manny, how many punters actively out of 32 can you name right now?
Oh,
probably 2.
You got I love punts in the bio, and you can only name 2 punters?
Yeah, I mean, I'd just be watching them. I don't
Welcome
know.
to the Manny experience.
I don't know who that guy is, but man, what a call punt that was.
A stand and a slow clap for whatever your name is.
AJ Cole and...
What a talent. 888-710-4ISN. All right.
Whatever your name is.
How many punters can you name? Does the show get taken to school next?
I might have been on 0 before AJ Cole news.
Oh, yeah, AJ Cole. That's one. I'm halfway there.
Who's the Giants punter right now? I have no idea.
My brain has gone completely blank. I can't name anybody.
Not a single one.
The Scottish Hammer.
Right.
Sure. Sounds like a WWE wrestler. Drew McIntyre.
The Scottish Hammer sounds like something one of my friends said a semester abroad.
Oh, wow.
I said a friend.
Holy cow.
I know. I always take it to an inappropriate place, and then
I was
everyone
going to
gets
say
quiet.
something similar to
Jamie Gillen.
I'm not going to give you that one.
The Scottish Hammer.
Joey's nickname is not... come on. We watch a lot of football as a group. We can name some punters.
I mean, they just cut their punter, Thomas Morstead, so he would have been the guy.
that guy
Thomas
was a
Morstead.
character.
Very good punter, too. And then whoever Caleb Williams said that wasn't going to punt and then ended up punting a lot last year, that guy
right.
also.
He's from Australia with the blonde hair, right?
Yeah, no idea what his name is.
No,
but-
you're not going to. All right. We got to come up with some names in the break without Google.
Brad Hand. I don't think he's in the NFL anymore.
I think we should probably all order up a round of Scottish Hammers, take them, and see how we do.
I'm good.
All
I'll drink
right.
alcohol.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. All right, we're naming punters next. See you guys on the phones. Can Shai Gilgeous-Alexander be the face of the NBA? Doesn't look that way, but what's really stopping it? And, someone to the rescue to save a city. Well, there's superstars thinking of leaving town. Get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Maggie Perloff Show. That music is reserved for one man and one man only, the spin doctor himself, Doc Rivers. Pearl, you know him well. So as it turns out, according to Mark Stein, the Milwaukee Bucks are hoping that Doc Rivers, as the head coach of the Bucks, is what's going to provide some kind of boost, is how they're putting it, to keep Giannis in Milwaukee.
Yeah, I hate to say this because I know we have fans in Milwaukee.
100 days.
What's the point?
Oh, to keep him there?
Yeah, I mean, that's not,
what do you think of the Doc Rivers aspect first,
yeah,
and then get to your Giannis point?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's all the same point. I just think that what is Doc going to say? Like, there's no real future here for him in Milwaukee. I don't know what Doc, even if this is true, which I'm dubious of, that Doc Rivers has that kind of pull. I don't understand his pitch. Like, if Giannis can get out of there, there's nothing there for him because Lillard's out indefinitely, right?
Yep.
So it's just not going to have a championship level team in Milwaukee right now. I don't think they have any moves they can make. So I don't see what this Doc Rivers pitch is.
Well, I mean, you don't think that you can rotate the surrounding cast a bit? No, there's nothing you can do about the Lillard thing.
Like you've tried and you failed. I mean, you won a title, but
Yeah,
no, I don't think they have the moves because they gave up a lot of their draft capital. I think even with the pure magnetism of Doc Rivers, doesn't this feel like a stretch? That was my reaction when I read that headline. Like, oh, good luck, Doc.
See, listen, I think Giannis is probably gone. I hate to say that to our fans in Milwaukee, although I think that everyone's kind of come to grips with it because Giannis has been doing this passive-aggressive thing for like the last 3 off seasons.
Yeah.
This is not new.
Yeah. You've been all over that. You've been calling his little passive-aggressive micro messages.
I mean, and some of them feel a little macro, like going to the New York Times kind of feels like a macro one. Or, all of a sudden you're on every podcast talking about, well, I just want to be a winner. And if the front office can't show me that, I've got to look elsewhere and winning when you're not. I don't think that Doc is going to be the savior here.
No.
And I'm curious does that mean Doc maybe goes back to TV? Is he still going to coach the Bucks if it's, whatever? We can talk about the future of Doc Rivers another time.
That's
Although
a great
he might
question.
help the broadcast. I'm going to be honest. Like, I kind of wish Doc Rivers was calling that Western Conference Finals last night. And you know that I love individually, love Breen, love Doris. If she's not doing her thing, I'm not sitting here doing this. I owe her. She's a pioneer. And I actually like Richard Jefferson. I just don't like the 3 of them together.
Well, I wish they would call it the officials more personally. But, yeah, ESPN they're a bit of a train wreck, the whole production.
Yeah, it's just trying to find chemistry on the fly. Listen, no one's more empathetic on that kind of stuff than people who actually work in the industry. It's just tough.
I'm wet.
But back to the Bucks, though. Why I would actually be excited to start over right now. If you could trade Giannis, let's say hypothetically, San Antonio has a number 2 pick. You're going to bring in a star at number 2. If they'll give you that pick and another young star, wouldn't you rather go as a fan? Wouldn't you rather go young? Giannis is 30. It's not going to be pretty between 30 and 40 for Giannis. I feel like he's going to go somewhere and be, like Karl Malone late career. He's just not built. He's so physical. He's not built for the second half of his career, in my mind.
But you don't think that he and Wemby together would instantly
I think you have a
boost
small,
the odds?
They'd be great, but I think you have a short window. I think Giannis is probably going to be really good till maybe 33, 34. And then the way he plays so physically, he might break down at that height.
So the bet you would make is take the 2nd overall pick, but also future picks, right? And so you're hoping that San Antonio crashes out because those are not going to be high picks, obviously, outside of 2.
San Antonio, they have the Rookie of the Year in Castle, and they have the number 2 overall pick. They have a lot of current assets. They probably want to get rid of De'Aaron Fox. Like, you could build a team really quickly off San Antonio's assets, right? Wouldn't you? I don't know. If you're the Bucks, wouldn't you want the number 2 pick this year and something else? Because you're not going to get
tough. I'm in the Eastern Conference. I feel like I could talk myself into, hey, we are watching, no offense, like you're watching Knicks Pacers and you're probably wondering.
I don't think Milwaukee's
could that have been us?
Yeah, I don't think Milwaukee's wondering that anymore because so Damian Lillard tore his Achilles. I don't expect to see him much at all, and he's getting really old for NBA. So, yeah, I don't think Milwaukee has a window. I would start over.
And that's tough. That is hard.
I think it could be exciting. You could get there, like the Rockets have an incredible offer they can make. The Spurs do. The Thunder have 1 million draft picks. You could really get a haul and rebuild this thing from scratch.
I know, but do you ever get full value when you're trading a guy like that?
I think in this particular case, you're going to get a lot of value because there's so many different teams that are going to make an offer. Yeah, I mean, listen, I heard this take on this is the Western Conference Finals that what's his name? Paul George built because of all the bad Paul George trades. The Thunder got all these stars, and I think the T-Wolves might have got a bunch of stars. Pacers, right. Yeah. There's basically, this is exactly how you rebuild. Look at the Thunder.
Yeah, I mean, but that was may go down also as one of the worst trades ever. The fact they trade away Shai.
Generally in the NBA, when you trade all old stars, they decline quickly and you can rebuild. I mean, I'm here in New York. I saw it with KG, Paul Pierce, and Darren Williams. Darren wasn't old, but you can get a lot of value off of that, right?
Yeah.
Do you think Giannis' game will age well? I do not.
I don't know.
I mean, he's been still playing at a very high level. I mean, he was
right. But for how many years?
Conversation this year.
Yeah.
For how many years? Because he can't shoot.
Well, but he's gotten a little better at that.
Can't shoot threes. He's pretty good in the mid range.
Which obviously we've realized is the thing now.
Right. It's becoming the thing.
Mid-range game. Someone tell Joe Mazzulla. Kyrie's out.
You would think that he's a guy that's going to be on the decline. It's just he keeps defying physics with how well he's still playing in that physical brand. It's just a matter of, like Pearl said, can he stay healthy? And he has missed some games.
Projecting
last 5
forward,
years.
I think we've seen he's at the peak now.
888-710-4ISN. Don't worry, guys. Doc Rivers is going to convince him to stay in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
The Spin Doctor. Coming up, who's starting OTAs without a true number one QB?
Snitches get stitches.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Get back to hoops in just one moment. Good morning, Maggie and Perloff with you after this Memorial Day weekend. But Aaron Rodgers, Pearl, out of the hovel. No, I'm kidding. Seems to have reemerged last couple weeks. Joe Rogan podcast sat there for 3 hours, and then looks like he was in Austin, Texas over the weekend, and he was answering some questions about his future from the audience. It was like a town hall. Meanwhile, Steelers start their OTAs today. So that's why we're bringing this up. Now, here was Rodgers. Manny, haircut 24, please. He was asked by a Bears fan whether he would just retire already.
Will Aaron Rodgers ever go to the Bears?
Oh, boy. Security, can we get her out of here? We need some security. Security,
can you take it easy on her on this one?
No, but I believe there's a team that might play in Chicago this year.
Let's go!
On a road trip. I don't know. I'm not sure. Got to check it out.
Are you speaking in code?
I love Chicago, though. Way more than they love me. It's been a great relationship, all one way.
Don't be a freaking weirdo.
That's so, obviously, Aaron Rodgers, I think, just revealed a lot more about his personality than he even thought right there.
I love Chicago.
About needing things his way. But anyway, week 12, Pittsburgh Steelers at the Bears, Pearl. So that would be the Rodgers home. I can't say homecoming, but someone funny said that Rodgers owns Chicago and that he owns Soldier Field and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, the OTAs are starting, and Rodgers is not there for the Steelers. And, I'm just going to say it. This is not a serious attempt to win a Super Bowl. And whenever Rodgers does sign, I'm not predicting full-out doom and failure. And I'm not saying this is going to be a disaster or any of those, big dumpster fire. It's not that. It's just you're not convincing me that he's serious about winning. You're not convincing me that the Steelers think that he can win a Super Bowl with them. I think this is all just being done because, A, he doesn't feel like retiring yet, and 2, he just doesn't want the lasting memory to be the Jets.
I said, you don't know me.
Exactly. And so,
is it, and actually the scenario you just painted out, is that wrong? But I mean, show me a better option. Where would you go if you were him?
Well, this is the thing about the Steelers. It's like, why are you doing this then? Because I don't think that he's not showing half of the enthusiasm that he did for the Jets. You're the Pittsburgh Steelers. You're not the Jets. Sorry, EJ, but you're not, right? You have this history. You have your storied franchise. I always said, I think you could climb Mount Everest. There'd be a terrible towel up there. The sun never sets on a Steelers fandom. But my thing is, he just doesn't. It seems like he's treating this as some kind of afterthought, at least publicly. So you're not going to fool me oh, gosh, you're really coming in here with some intentions to really do good things. It's no, you just still want to keep playing. But it's not charity. Are you in it to win or are you in it just to have a good time?
Well, I think he's in it to go 11-6, or that'd be great. Throw 30 touchdowns, make a Pro Bowl, and maybe make a run to the conference title game.
See, I don't think you can say that that's way too rosy of an outlook, I think, when someone's not showing up for OTAs, who's never been in this offense. Okay, a couple passes you throw to DK Metcalf at a field in UCLA, that's not practice.
Well, it's just that particular team always ends up between 9 and 10 or 11 wins. So I think, honestly, he has no better choice, Maggie. There's no Super Bowl team waiting out there, and he wants to play. So you're saying he's just retired because there's no easy-made Super Bowl team, or even there's no contender that needs a quarterback. So what's he supposed to do?
No, weirdly, I'm actually not faulting Rodgers here. I'm faulting the Steelers.
Well, yeah, but look at the Steelers. They had Kenny Pickett 2 years ago. They had Russell Wilson and Justin Fields last year. I will say the one thing about this solution is it's not going to hurt them moving forward. There's nothing.
It might if they win 11 games, like you say, then you're not rebuilding there.
They have no interest in tanking and getting to the bottom of the draft. That's just not something that franchise will do.
Well, I don't know if you need to be a 2-win or 3-win team to find the next quarterback. We've seen over and over again, teams don't have to actively, like what we saw a couple years ago where teams, it just felt like they were trying to lose to get Trevor Lawrence. It felt like a strategy. And I don't think you actually have to be that extreme.
Well, I mean, kind of do, though. If you look at the top 10 to 15 passers, most of them are top 5 picks.
Do you think that Aaron Rodgers and Mason Rudolph are all that different right now? Or Aaron Rodgers?
I would give Aaron Rodgers a 10 to 20% boost over Mason Rudolph.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm just saying, are you winning any more meaningful games? At
least you have a shot. I don't think you have a shot to win a meaningful game with Mason Rudolph.
I'll give you that.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying, and it's a good point, but I still think there's a lot more excitement with Aaron Rodgers.
Well, no doubt, but I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't need to do anything to sell tickets. I've got a fan base that's going to live and die with me no matter what, right?
Right. So it's the NFL. Selling tickets isn't.
Well, that's what I think anyway. Yeah. But I'm just saying, you don't need buzz. You're the Pittsburgh Steelers. The buzz is included, and I think that fans now would be. I think they're sick of riding the roller coaster. And it was the last couple years of Ben.
Yeah.
Then it was Pickett. And now it'd be you're into Russell Wilson, Justin Fields territory, and now you're into Rodgers, and there's been in the way, Mitchell Trubisky and Duck Hodges, and it's just been guy after guy after guy, but not the guy.
Well, right, but explain exactly. I understand what you're saying, but how were they supposed to get this guy?
Well, I'm just saying, I don't know if right now I would be all right, well, Aaron Rodgers can just sort of waltz in whenever he feels like it, and we're just going to roll with it because it just seems unserious. And by the way, I mean, I don't think he's going to do the Steeler way. Whatever Cam Hayward was talking about, hey, we're the Steelers, we don't pursue people,
right,
where it's not you and the team. I think you hear Rodgers is he wants things his way. And you could say he's earned them, right? 4-time MVP. Yeah. I think that he's going to be it's going to be 1-52.
You've had Steeler way. You've had Le'Veon Bell holding out he's the only.
And he looks stupid for that.
You had Antonio Brown in the building. You had Chase Claypool in the building. What Steeler way are we talking about? You've had the big rogue gallery of knuckleheads come through that offense. The defense has a Steeler way. The offense has been a hodgepodge of weirdos.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't call Hines Ward a weirdo.
Yeah, that was 20 years ago.
Okay, well, listen, that's how legacies, this is where we come up. The Steeler way didn't happen 5 minutes ago.
Well, you had Matt Canada calling plays for 2 years. The Steeler way is lost on offense. The defense is still awesome.
Sure.
But generally, I think this is a haymaker. And what do they have to lose offensively? They've been a disaster. Last year, the Russell Wilson, Justin Fields thing that's even worse. To have this sort of limbo plan of 2 okay quarterbacks, you're not paying anything, you don't know which one's going to start. I'd rather take a haymaker with Aaron Rodgers. Either it's going to fail spectacularly or it's going to be a heck of a fun ride. I say, what do you have to lose here?
In cartoons sometimes, I'm thinking Casey at the Bat or something like that, one of those classics where you swing the bat so hard you actually spin around and end up hitting yourself in the back of the head. Yeah. That's how I feel the haymaker with Rodgers. The haymaker, the wind-up's going to be big, and then he's actually going to end up punching himself in the face somehow, metaphorically. Because I just don't see how, I don't know, the guy doesn't seem like he's in a rush to get to town. And even if they're having great conversations or he has really serious stuff going on, we'll grant you all the grace in the world for something like that, right? It just doesn't seem like a quarter of the enthusiasm that he had for the Jets is happening towards the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Wow, that might be a good thing because nothing worked out well with the Jets. And honestly, the Jets were left in this terrible place after Rodgers got there. Maybe that's what the Steelers need. Maybe they need to try a big risk like this and see it fail to wake up and start over a quarterback, maybe do a full rebuild because they've kind of been doing these partial little rebuilds, trying to draft their way and stay consistent. I mean, when's the last time Mike Tomlin had a losing season, right?
Well, never.
Right. Has he never had one?
Well, that's the whole thing about Tomlin.
Yeah. Okay. So you can't consistently do that. If you're consistently around 9-10 wins, you have no chance of really getting better.
Okay, but here's the thing. You don't think that message should have already been received? You really need Rodgers? You need to see this experiment before you realize, oh my gosh, we need a quarterback of the future, guys. And by the way, I'm not saying this is easy. I'm not sitting here from my, ivory tower here and behind the microphone being you should have done this, you should have done that. It's hard to replace a franchise quarterback. But you're not doing it with Rodgers, right? Ben Roethlisberger's long gone, retired, podcasting now. It's hard. Look at Manny's Giants. It's hard to replace Eli Manning. It's hard to replace these legends. Every franchise goes through that. I get it. But you're not getting any closer to the prize now with Rodgers. You're just delaying what is the inevitable. He could have a good season. You still don't have your quarterback of the future.
As you sit here today, if you're Omar Khan, the Steelers GM, would you not sign Rodgers?
I don't think he's making this call, weirdly, but that's besides the point. Probably not.
Okay.
Because I think that there is some degree of job security with the Pittsburgh Steelers, like more than any franchise maybe in the history of North American
No.
sports.
Forget his job. I mean, would you think if you were the Steelers, would you bring in Rodgers now or would you run with Rudolph?
I think I would probably just go with Rudolph and kind of see where it goes and see if I get a top 10 pick, which I think I would, right? And I know I just traded and paid DK Metcalf, but I'm paying DK Metcalf for a lot of years. I can't just say, oh, I have DK Metcalf. Now I got to win a Super Bowl. We're all in this year because you traded for Metcalf. No.
The mistake they made was they should have drafted a quarterback much higher. That's why we're sitting in this rut.
You mean this past?
Yeah, this draft. They should have drafted either Shuck or drafted Shedeur Sanders or drafted somebody, Dylan Gabriel, in the second round and said, this guy's the guy we're going to try to develop, see what we got here.
They didn't have a second round pick. They traded for Metcalf. But
also,
but
Shuck is
fair
actually,
point.
Yeah, third round, you could have got Shedeur Sanders even.
Shuck is actually older than Aaron Rodgers, so that one, the two of them came in the same time at the Cal.
And I also think they could have traded in the second round.
But you say that about Shedeur, but Shedeur fell for the fifth round. I mean, the market is down on Shedeur.
I think they were worried about reaching for another QB.
I think they were worried about getting Shedeur in camp and not giving him a chance would have looked bad. So they're like, probably.
This looks bad now, though. They got Mason Rudolph taking QB1 snaps in OTAs, and Aaron Rodgers is in Austin talking about, I'm not playing for the Saints. Like, what's going on? This looks ridiculous.
I think so, too. I just think you're delaying the inevitable. And by the way, I just don't think anyone's getting fired if you have a bad season. I don't think Omar Khan's getting fired. I don't think Tomlin's getting fired. Even though we think Tomlin could be on the hot seat, I don't think he is. So you have a down year, and then you go into this, next draft, and you may have some really good options at quarterback, and the fan base is going to freaking love you for it if you actually reset. Like, look at the Patriots fan base. I think they're loving the fact that they have Drake May. And by the way, that's shoes that are 10,000 times bigger to fill.
Well, you say, so just the fact that you guys think that they're going to be so much better with Rodgers is a reason to take Rodgers. So you think that's a night and day. You just described, you said a top 10 pick with Mason Rudolph, but you're not going to get that top 10 pick with Rodgers. So if you're the front office, you're like, good, give me Rodgers. They don't want to do this terrible season. They just don't want to do it. It's not part of their nature.
I don't think it's going to be like all that different, though, because you're asking me who's going to, if Aaron Rodgers, can he still win meaningful games in the playoffs? We haven't seen the evidence of that now in years.
But you just described Mason Rudolph as a total like top 10 pick rebuild. So I think if
that
you
could be 7 wins, maybe, depending on the type of
probably
year.
end up like 12, 13. So I think that if you're the Steelers and you're the Rooney family, like you want the 10-win Rodgers season. I get some teams just don't want to tank.
But where does it get you?
So you're saying, yeah, I know what you're saying, but it doesn't matter. They're not going to do it.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. I'm curious for the Steeler fan out there. You want Rodgers, or are you kind of resigned to the fact that it's going to be Rodgers? I don't think he's like going to get booed or anything. Like I don't think he's walking into like a hornet's nest of a fan base that doesn't want him.
I know the media doesn't like Rodgers. I think there are a lot of fans who are into Rodgers. I would be if I was a casual fan. If I was Pittsburgh and I would say, yeah, let's try it. Why not?
Well, it's funny though because you just had Russell Wilson, and I'm not saying that Wilson is as good as Rodgers. I'm not saying that. But it's different. It's different. You just got sold. Hey, this aging veteran quarterback was just in a terrible situation in his last place. He's still got juice in the tank. He's going to come in. He's going to stabilize things. Like, is it not the same pitch with Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers?
You didn't get sold that at all. You said Russell Wilson is coming in here and competing for a job with Justin Fields.
No, they gave him the job. Remember? He
Not
was
really,
in the
though.
pole position until he got hurt.
He was in the pole position, but it wasn't. The expectations were small for Russ. He was coming off a terrible season, as I recall.
And what's Rodgers coming off of? I mean, you can say the counting stats were good with the Jets. That was not a good season.
The thing about Rodgers is he is going to be on his second year after the Achilles injury. So you'd assume that his numbers would get better if he could stay healthy. That's the other thing. They're bringing in a 41-year-old guy 2 years off an Achilles. It's a flyer, which is fine. It's not going to hurt them. They're not giving up anything for him.
And he's treating it like it's a side hustle. Like it's not even a hustle.
It does seem like it does seem
there.
Feels like he's got something behind the scenes with them going on.
You keep saying that.
I mean, doesn't it feel that way? The way he was talking, he was like, well, there's a team. You don't think he's communicated this? He just doesn't want to go to OTAs. And he's thinking if I sign after OTAs, then no one's going to kill me for not showing up to OTAs.
Okay, but unless it's the serious emergency stuff that was happening with his friends and you feel horrible if people are going through health concerns, if it's just I don't want to show up to OTAs, that's not exactly confidence-inducing amongst the fan base.
Welcome to Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, he hates OTAs. What can I say? I kind of respect it.
It's like, do you want to go to work today? Like, meh.
In the old time, listen, this is a new phenomenon that everyone went to OTAs. Back in the day, that wasn't a thing.
It's a new team, new everything.
Doesn't he have to have played better to pull stuff like this? That's the other thing, too. If he was coming off a great season, he just threw for 4,000 yards and made the playoffs.
He'd be a Viking.
Well, yeah, probably. But still, like, I mean, it would be one thing if that was the case. Like, if you had that terrible season, and, you know, Filipponi mentioned it, and I've mentioned it a bunch on the show, I mean, the Steelers kicked his ass when the Jets went there in Pittsburgh. He threw 2 picks to an unnamed rookie, and the Jets got destroyed. Like, these guys are going to look at him like, who is this guy? He doesn't mean anything to the Steelers. He means a lot to the NFL.
Wait. These guys mean the players?
Yeah,
the veterans on the Steelers.
Yeah, like Cam Moore's got to show up to practice.
Stinks. What veterans are going to say anything about his, like...
The defense is going to look at this guy sideways and say, who is this guy? He's supposed to be the leader of that offense? We're going to fix it with this guy? We destroyed him last year.
That defense got run over like little kids in their last game. Like, they have nothing to say right now after that performance of the wild card against the Ravens. So I don't even want to hear it. There's nothing to lose with this team.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Let us know what you think about Rodgers, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay, so you're not into raspberries.
He being cryptic at an event. We believe it was in Austin, Texas. I looked it up. But
I think he's a bum.
Austin, Texas, talking about how he's not going to play for the Bears, but he may be on a team that plays the Bears. Aha.
I said, you don't know me. And he said, you don't know me. And then I said, exactly.
My all-time favorite. If only all of us could have mic drops like that. If it actually went down that way.
I said, you don't know me.
Okay, coming up next, Shedeur Sanders out here clearing up lies, he's saying. Lies that are being told about him online. We'll bring you the details next.
Shedeur.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. All right, this next story is actually, I think, kind of important to me because the whole draft was about Shedeur Sanders, right? And the issue was teams didn't want a backup quarterback who would get too much attention. So what are we doing? We're paying attention more to Shedeur Sanders than any player in the NFL. Yeah. So does that confirm what teams thought? Are like, oh, this guy's just got too much heat for a backup quarterback. So it seems funny to me. That Shedeur seems to be doing everything right in Cleveland, but he still gets so much attention. I wonder if coaches are like, man, that's kind of why we didn't want to draft him. So what's the latest on Shedeur Sanders?
Well, okay, so this is a silly one, but apparently he got a Rolls Royce delivered to his estate. It's like a $500,000 car, and it was kind of in like a brown color, if you saw that. I don't know what that color is.
Green.
Is that green? This is going to be like that blue gold dress.
Two very different colors.
I don't know what color that car was, but kind of muted. We'll put it that way. It wasn't like neon green or bright pink or something. But it got delivered, and so the internet sort of had a field day with it, and Shedeur said, this is a lie. I'm focused on my team, not a car purchase. And this is what I hope, Pearl. I hope that NFL teams are smart enough and discerning enough to tell the difference between a guy who may have, tanked an interview and was bad on a whiteboard and didn't look like they had the football side of it versus a guy getting a car delivered to his house. Like, rich guy gets fancy car delivered to house is not a story to me at all.
Backup quarterback, 5th-round pick, it's a Rolls Royce delivered to his house. That doesn't seem, maybe not a story, but it's certainly unusual.
I just don't think. I think that's more of a chalk it up to this day and age thing.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, first of all, college kids wouldn't have had that kind of money. Shedeur obviously comes from a famous family.
Well, that's it. Yeah.
But we wouldn't have the footage to know who was driving what when. If he had pulled up to the facility in it on game day and people like, whoa, who's driving through the Browns parking lot with the green-brown Rolls Royce that we can't tell what color it is. Then I think maybe it's a story. The backup quarterback driving a Rolls and Kenny Pickett probably drives like a Jeep. But at his house?
Well, I think that
let the guy breathe.
This only exists because his last name is Sanders. First of all, he films everything. So
that's
you say
fair.
like generally,
Okay.
like I think it's all part
All
of the
content.
same show.
Okay.
Like
that's a good point. He does put it out there.
He has a film crew around him. I mean, he's just Shedeur Sanders. His last name is Sanders. His dad is Deion Sanders.
So he should drive a Pinto, and like what's that gonna
There's
do?
no should or what. I mean, it's just teams are like, well, I don't think we need that in the building. There's no like nobody did anything wrong. It's just they're thinking I don't want my backup quarterback to have this exact profile of fame. I mean, I'm looking at the other backup quarterbacks who got drafted around Shedeur. Kyle McCord ain't getting a Rolls Royce. He's getting a Nissan delivered to his house as we speak.
Can I say something about, I think, a little of how the lens we view stuff? If Kyle McCord got a Rolls Royce delivered to his house, you don't think a lot of people would be like, damn, that guy is so cool. He's got a Rolls Royce.
I think America would be like, what on earth is happening? I'm looking.
They probably think he's a
shocked.
drug dealer or something. I'm just
Yeah, and then I'm like, first of all, the fact that Graham Mertz got drafted was a shocking headline in itself in the 6th round. Like, these guys aren't supposed to get Rolls Royces. Yeah, Cam Miller, who Tom Brady loved, the 6th round pick. Most of the draft nation didn't even know who this guy was. Like these guys are not supposed to get Rolls Royces. That's what coaches are old school. I'm not saying that it's the right way to be, but they don't like this stuff, right? You know that, Maggie.
Yeah, to me, this is not the story. This is not the story to point and say, wow, this guy's being a distraction. It's showing up to his home. As far as we know, he didn't put it out on social media. Again, if he pulls up to the facility and is trying to show off for the cameras, maybe you could criticize that, but
it's not even
a fancy car.
Forget criticize. Take the judgment out of it.
Okay.
Is this a lot for a backup quarterback? His name is Sanders. You can never. He's going to walk in the room with the rest of the quarterback room, and everyone's going to be watching him because he's Shedeur Sanders.
We said that, though, and the Browns decided to do it anyway, which is why we think the owner stepped in and drafted him, because why would a GM want this kind of distraction? But Andrew Berry says it's value pick at 5.
Yeah, I mean,
the 5th round, rather.
He's right. He's probably way too good to go in the 5th round.
This is like the Browns. This is like a mess of the Browns' own making, right?
Well, it's not a mess or not a mess. I mean, because it's just Shedeur Sanders is a lot as a backup quarterback. That's all I'm saying. And coaches, probably most coaches in the league probably said, I don't want that. That's just the reality. And this confirms that storyline. It's not his fault. It's just like, oh, of course. You know, I think what's a team that passed on him? Say the Saints. They're looking at this and, well, they took Shuck, but get any team that passed on and be like, well, yeah, that probably was not what we wanted as backup quarterback. Backup quarterback's got a specific role on the team, and it's to be a backup and support the starter. And I don't know.
And drive a van? Like, I
don't know. Kind of.
And to drive a van. One other maybe more important thing. So they gave Shedeur a signing bonus, right? They gave him the $4 million signing bonus. But apparently Andrew Berry said yesterday on radio, over the weekend on radio, that Stefanski's message to the team was, no one's made the team yet. So your first goal is to make the team. So even with the $4 million signing bonus, no guarantees that Shedeur is going to make the team. I think that's kind of BS. I think he's definitely making the team.
Most 5th round picks make the team. That's not a tradition. Maybe I'm wrong about it. I think that's not a usual cut spot because you're cheap, especially in the salary cap year.
But do most teams carry 4 quarterbacks for a season?
Yeah, well, that's why I'm saying I think they would cut the veteran.
Which one? Flacco?
Probably Flacco, and then bring him back later in the year.
Joe Flacco?
Or
someone else might pick him up.
If I had to guess, I think they would cut one of the veterans before they cut in the rookies. They don't cost anything. Why would you don't need Flacco as a 3rd quarterback or Pickett as a 3rd quarterback, do you?
I want Flacco in the back pocket. If I'm actually trying to make the playoffs this year, then I need Flacco on ice, on the bench, just sort of in case I need something in Thanksgiving time. That's what I would do. Pickett, I would probably
I don't get the
goodbye.
Kenny Pickett thing because he didn't look very good in preseason for the Eagles, but yeah, I would think you'd keep 2 rookies and 1 veteran. I think Mary Kay Cabot, the longtime Browns reporter, said that's the most likely scenario. Did you also see in that report that Shedeur was 4th string? The fact that we were surprised, some people are like, he's 4th string? Yeah, he's a 5th round pick.
I'm trying to figure out what is the color of this car. You think
It's an
that's
olive green. Olive.
That's green.
Yes, olive green.
That's green, Maggie.
Sorry, guys. It looks brown to me. Let's get to Bogusch. He's got headlines for us on this Tuesday. I don't know. My eyes? What's up, Bogusch?
Guys, the 42-point Game 3 win didn't carry over much for the T-Wolves last night. Down at halftime after committing 13 turnovers in Game 4 with the Thunder. They only led for 36 total seconds before losing 128-126 to fall into a 3-1 hole in the Western Conference Final. Anthony Edwards knows exactly what happens.
They outplayed us, out-rebounded us, got more than 50-50 balls. They wanted a little more. They went back to how they was playing Game 1 and 2.
He didn't mention that he only scored 16 points, took just 13 shots after 62 points over Games 2 and 3. Julius Randle managed just 5 points last night, so Nickeil Alexander-Walker was Minnesota's high man with 23.
Does he have any relatives in the playoffs?
The Thunder, on the other hand, got 40 from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and 34 from Jalen Williams, both those postseason career highs. The MVP adding 9 rebounds and 10 assists. Head coach Mark Daigneault not surprised his team didn't let Game 3 linger.
This team's easy to bet on. We had a very normal couple days leading into it, very normal shoot around today, and there's just kind of a sense, an internal sense that we were going to come out and it would be a much different game.
And now they can reach the NBA Finals at home tomorrow night. The Pacers looking to bounce back from their Game 3 disappointment, hosting the Knicks again this evening. 2 things from this one. Aaron Nesmith will be a game-time call after twisting his right ankle on Sunday night. And Tyrese Halliburton's dad, John, expected to be in attendance tonight, ending his unofficial ban for that on-court incident with Giannis.
Snitches get stitches.
Who do you think he's going to pick a fight with next? Like Karl Anthony Towns Sr.?
PJ Tucker.
You'd
That
be
would
a
not be
fool.
not be a good idea.
PJ has got nothing to like. Giannis has got a lot to lose. PJ Tucker does
He's
not.
not getting any burn, so yeah.
He doesn't play.
It'll be the most action he's gotten since signing with the Knicks.
The only people who even know he's on the Knicks are you two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're not gonna. Yeah, I was gonna say, what about one of the celebrities in the crowd?
What celebrities? Terry Crews? He was
It's only home games.
Oh, he's going to go find Chalamet?
Well, they traveled. I saw there was a bunch of guys.
He's not allowed to go to road games. That's part of the stipulation.
No, but Chalamet was
I know,
in
but
Indiana.
Chalamet was there. Ewing was there.
But Halliburton will actually be up in a suite, though. He's not going to be courtside with all the.
He's going to be quarantined.
I love they have the
quarantined
rules.
into a suite. Yes.
The John Halliburton rules. It's like he's got a code of conduct just for himself.
Right, so he can't go after Tucker or a current player or a coach or anything.
Might go after somebody.
How about
in the
Rick
suite,
Brunson? He seems like a fiery guy.
Rick Brunson's on the coaching staff.
No, I know, but he went after Giannis. I'm saying if he does get down to the court.
Rick Brunson got after a fan in Game 3.
I feel like Rick Brunson would throw down with Mr. Halliburton.
Yeah, Rick Brunson basically has a job for life.
Yeah,
The general manager, he was his first client, and his son is basically going to have his jersey hanging in the rafters one day, which EJ predicted like 4 years ago.
Hey,
and
y'all called me a madman.
He's got a lifetime pass.
Well, I'm just saying, like, those are 2 sports dads who could go at it. I could see that.
Rick Brunson would kill John Halliburton, with all due respect.
I mean, of course. Rick Brunson's a former NBA player. I don't think Mr. Halliburton was.
I was just saying, I mean, he's a little old. He looks a little older to me. Not
the same weight class either.
Yeah.
Definitely. Big body Brunson. Did you see him?
Definitely not the same weight class.
Yeah, they're definitely not holding. Remember when they took away LeBron's cookies on the plane? They're definitely not doing that with the Knicks.
I was going to say, are we about to do what I think we're doing to Rick Brunson?
No, John Halliburton's also looks like he's like 130 pounds, soaking wet, so he's not helping the cause either.
John Halliburton looks like he could run marathons. He's very thin.
Look at Tyrese.
Rick Brunson.
Wiry.
Well, I think Rick Brunson's running away from is a salad.
Hey, by the way, speaking of weight shaming people, but opposite.
What?
There was a Luka photo from over the weekend. Not to step on your update here, Bogues, but people are like, wow, Luka already looks 20 pounds thinner. How could you possibly tell from that photo?
Well, you saw that. What I saw was he took this picture with these 2 women. They were like, look at that plate. No crumbs left.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I saw him courtside at something.
Me too. And I thought he did look slim. And I'm like, did he lose a fat suit? Like, I don't like. Did he play a Harden? There's no way he lost that amount of weight without
Also,
being like ill. Since the Lakers season.
Well, he already lost a lot as a Laker. I think he lost 20 pounds this year.
You cannot tell from these photos. Like,
he looked svelte to me.
He looked exactly the same to me.
No, there was like weird. The picture I saw, there was like weird. He looked less wide. He looked thinner. He looked looked
He
little.
looked less wide.
Yeah,
wild.
like he looked more in shape in this one picture.
You make it seem like
mid-stride.
he's one of those Weight Watchers commercials that's holding out the pants.
I mean,
like I was
kinda.
double the size.
You guys are talking about him like how I talk about my brother with his weight.
Yeah, and then we saw your brother. We're like, oh, he's a perfectly normal looking person.
He is a little chubby.
He's not.
He digs his Oreos. That's all I'm gonna say about that. He likes
Who
Oreos.
doesn't?
I think he looks thinner in this photo.
Wait, what was the picture of him with the women at dinner?
I guess he was at wherever he was because he was wearing the same outfit. He was at dinner, and I guess it looked like maybe two fans came up to him. There were two women, and people were looking at the dinner plate, and they saw how they were like literally just like one or two crumbs left. And they were like,
Oh
he's
my
finishing
God.
his plate still, and I'm like,
Guys, it could have been
really?
a salad. Easy.
and it looked like breadcrumbs. Like could have been pizza or
love breadcrumbs,
or maybe a little focaccia.
He's 100% going to lose weight. He's in L.A. You have to lose weight.
Oh, just to fit in?
Yeah, I mean, he will. He lost tons of weight already as a Laker. He's going to be totally. I mean, I think
Unless he finds those taco trucks.
Honestly, I don't think it's a surefire thing that him losing weight means he's going to be MVP and winning the finals. By the way, which is with these headlines, watch out, rest of the NBA. Luka's lost some weight. I think the Lakers have some bigger problems, but that's just me.
Is brought to you by the new crispy tenders at CarMax. What?
They're serving food now?
It's a chicken wing.
Wait, I just finally put up the picture. You don't think he looks skinnier, Maggie?
I just can't tell.
Oh my God.
I remember.
It looks like a different person.
No.
He looks great.
There was a, well, yeah, he's gotten to heal a little. Anyway, there was once a photo that made it to the cover of the New York Post that was Derek Jeter.
Yeah.
They labeled him Derek Eater because they said that he looked fat. I'll never forget this. And
Yeah.
it was just because a wind had blown at the certain time that blew his shirt like towards the camera and made it look more bubbled up. And they called him Derek Eater.
When's the last time you saw an ophthalmologist? Because you're looking at this picture, you don't think Luka looks skinnier, and you thought that car was brown. What on earth are you looking at?
I was just telling Bogusch, my whole family, we all
What?
need an ENT because if you can hear my voice, I've developed an allergy. I can't breathe. Maybe I can't see too.
I mean, this is, I don't know what you're looking at. To see Luka not look way
Yeah, by
skinnier.
the way, olive green and brown. Like that's so far off.
Well, okay, that one I can see. Skinny Luka is obviously a thing here.
Dying. Excuse me. Not as bad as after the Super Bowl. What else you got, Bo?
By the way, he's going to get destroyed. That guy better put on some weight before the season starts. He's going to get pushed around like
For
he's not
goodness
even
sakes,
there.
eat something.
Caitlin Clark picked up a left quad strain during the Fever's home loss to the Liberty Saturday, and now she'll miss at least 2 weeks. These will be the first games Clark misses in her WNBA career. It was 15 straight losses in the Eastern Conference Finals for the Hurricanes, 3 sweeps, and the first 3 games this time with the Panthers. But Carolina finally won last night, 3-0 in Florida. So there's a Game 5 in Raleigh tomorrow. Frederick Anderson, 20 saves last night. Extra innings in San Diego.
The 1-2 pitch in the dirt gets by Hicks. Wade is going to try to score. Here comes the throw. He is safe, and the Padres win it. On a wild pitch, Tyler Wade scoring from third base, just getting ahead of the tag at home plate. And the Padres win this ball game in the 11th by a score of 4-3.
Over the Marlins on the always fun walk-off wild pitch. Not to be outdone, the Mets used a game-ending sac fly from Francisco Lindor to sidestep the terrible White Sox 2-1. And it's day 3 at the French Open. Coco Gauff and Novak Djokovic scheduled to play on center court. Women's number 6 seed Mira Andreeva, American Sofia Kenin, and Victoria Azarenka have already won so far today. Guys, back to you.
Well, the chat has weighed in, and I'm glad they did because LT Watch Party is saying Luke is training for basketball Euro Cup. It starts in a few months?
Not the NBA?
Not a couple months,
That is a thing that's happening.
but in a couple months? No, in a couple months, the season starts again. What are we talking about?
No, I think it is like a July-ish
Yeah,
thing.
those tournaments come a little
Okay, but
late,
it's
like maybe
basically
August.
June. Okay.
Yeah,
all
it might
right.
be the August tournament probably.
Maybe I'm looking at the wrong
That's
thing.
what most of the FIBA tournaments are.
Kaplan saying tough segment for Maggie's eyes.
Yeah.
I agree.
Agreed.
I know Pine
Don't
Needle
know
said
calendars either.
it's listed as olive green, replacing the same color that he already had before.
Like I literally saw like a tweet that said, "Look at this olive green, car." So when Maggie said brown, I was like, "What?"
I thought maybe he was doing like, I'm playing for the Browns. I'm driving a brown car now.
Oh my God, we need to get this woman glasses.
I mean, Maybe I just had a birthday. Maybe this is it. This is time.
Also, a brown car, yuck.
Tough. But, rich people of all types of cars, when it's your 10th car.
EJ, you'll know this reference, and only you. In the first Captain America movie, they used CGI to make Chris Evans look incredibly skinny as a 17-year-old. That's what Luka looks like right now. It's so obvious.
All right, well, my bad.
That
Sorry,
Eurobasket tournament, by the way, begins August 27th.
All right, so it does have a couple months. Man, I'm taking L's left and right here.
Maggie needs to get to the commercial break.
We better get the break.
She's like a boxer that needs to get to the corner. Get some work in.
That bell? Throw in the towel. Cut me.
Just a bad idea.
See out there. I'm blind. I wasn't even drinking yesterday. I can't even blame it on anything. I was just having a regular weekend. Anywho, Bill Belichick, he's having a worse weekend than me. Ha. We'll get to the latest embarrassing Belichick headline next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's calling the plays, but she's calling the shots. It's time for As the Tar Heel Turns.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Ethos Life, the easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes, up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Just a few health questions. Get your free quote at checkethos.com. Not available in all states. I'm sure Ethos thrilled to be connected to this segment.
What do you mean?
My wife got a hold of 2 sports stories this weekend.
Okay. Well, she's a big Knicks fan these days. We know
she's
that.
a big Knicks fan, but now she watched a Western Conference final with me, and she said, man, that tall Serbian can really move about Chet Holmgren. And I'm like, he's not from Serbia. But it was
He's from Minnesota.
Very, very valid point. He looks like a tall Serbian.
That's so funny.
Yeah, everything about him is Serbian except his actual birthplace.
Wait a minute. Serbians have a look?
Yeah, they're all Serbia.
They look like
my
Nikola
wife did a
Jokic.
lot of work on it. Serbian people are tall.
Okay.
So there's a lot of 6'9" Serbians.
But not that skinny.
Well,
like
regardless,
Jokic. Okay.
a dark-haired 6'9" white guy running around the NBA is 68% of the time Serbian, right?
Yeah, it could be Slovenian.
Well, they're all former Yugoslavia, whatever. They're all from the same area because that country. Sarah worked over there. They're very tall. It's just one of those things. They're all incredibly tall.
She worked out there?
Yeah, she did voter registration in the post-war Yugoslavia, whatever country. I can't remember if she was in Bosnia or where she was. Anyway, and then the other story was she finally got a hold of the Belichick story that you've been obsessed with.
What
Maggie.
took her so long? We're like 4 weeks into this thing or 3 years into this thing, depending on what you read.
She had he's living his best life. I mean, he's winning this one in her mind. Unlike she thinks he is an unattractive man who has a very pretty girlfriend, and why would you fault him for that?
She's taking this story
day by day.
Okay, so here's the latest on As the Tar Heel Turns. And I think for Sarah, I get it for your wife that everyone's living their best life and leave them alone, and I understand all that. But where Pablo Torre, the reporter who's got his Pablo Torre Finds Out podcast, basically all these hours and all this reporting that he has done is basically revealed, I think, what the biggest thing is for football fans about this story. So, Manny, I'll hear cut 27, please. So Pablo finding out that Jordan Hudson was at Patriot games as early as November 2021.
Oh, my God. Stop, Pablo. It's zoomed way in.
We are way zoomed in on this fan cam. Is that?
Sure is. That is Jordan. This is November, when? 28th?
28th, 2021. It's the Patriots' 36-13 win over the Tennessee Titans. Bill Belichick has a row of seats out right beneath the overhang in Gillette Stadium. And what I had to do was scroll endlessly through Gillette Stadium's fan cams.
What?
Okay, so Pablo's a madman. But between that and how ubiquitous Jordan has been throughout Bill's life, right? And you can say, oh, she doesn't work for North Carolina. She's just doing stuff on the side. We all know now that that's just not the full story. The full story is she's front and center. She's center stage. She's, doing emails on behalf of him. She's the COO of his production
Not that front and
company.
center. I had to go through 100 hours of fan cam stuff.
I'm just saying now. It's gotten gradually where she's gotten more incorporated into his business life, his personal life, and the business life.
She's his partner.
Right. So I think what this is really coming down to is we were racking our brains, or at least I was, as someone who's team got their you-know-what kicked by Belichick year after year after year. How did no one in the NFL want to hire this guy? How did nobody in the NFL? Okay, the Falcons and maybe Robert Kraft like muddied the water there, and Belichick's abrasive and he's not, whatever. How, even with Mac Jones failing or Cam Newton failing, how did nobody want Belichick? And I think this reporting, for as silly as some of this stuff is, with Jordan Hudson's mom works at a sex shop and who cares about that stuff. But I think what it really comes down to is I think this had an impact on him not getting hired in the NFL cycles.
Wow.
That's what Pablo's trying to say here. That's what he is saying. The reason why Bill Belichick is not an NFL head coach is because people thought the Jordan Hudson thing was weird.
Gosh.
What a disgrace.
I don't know if it's a disgrace or not.
So all the teams, I don't know. It feels like they let a lot of creepers in the building. You're saying this was too much for the NFL teams.
I think it was a combination of she started to become more and more in focus. And like when in 2021, how old is she in 20? They met when she was 19. And she's like, this is what the reporting is saying. We don't know. But the reporting would say she's overstepping, right? To what a lot of people would think. And Belichick he doesn't see her as a distraction. And it's no longer about everything and singularly, focus, because his focus is clearly taken away by her to some extent, to an extent that the old Bill Belichick would probably be uncomfortable with. So I think as a football story, it finally dawned on me, and Pablo kind of had to put a point on it. Like all the other silly stuff and the Instagram posts, and they look stupid, and that's fine. I'm not going to yuck somebody else's yums. But this is maybe why the NFL is saying no thank you, because it doesn't make sense. Look at all the crap coaches out there. Look at all the lost franchises. He was willing to circle back to the Jets, for goodness sake.
Who?
A team that he has clowned at every turn. And even he had to go hat in hand and go back channel through Mike Tannenbaum, and see if there was any kind of a shot.
Who? The Jets?
I mean, he was hard up. He couldn't get the Falcons job. All those guys are going to get fired this year. I mean, unless they really turned around and Penix is awesome. But you know what I'm saying?
What about the report that Robert Kraft called Arthur Blank and said, don't hire him, he's difficult? So what about that report?
No, I think that Kraft did muddy the waters. But you're telling me he muddied the waters on 31 teams who could have been possibly looking for a coach? Like six Super Bowls.
I just think it sounds crazy. Like Jordan Hudson is the reason he didn't get a job. I don't know. It feels like in the NFL, really? With Jerry Jones out there? It just feels weird to me.
Jerry owns the team. It's very different.
Yeah.
He's not an employee.
I don't know. I hear what you're saying. It just feels like, was it so bad? He only was in one cycle, right? Because he got let go by the Patriots and went straight to the media, right?
Actually, it was
one cycle.
And
so he interviewed with two, the Falcons, and Kraft muddied those waters, and then he didn't get into this year's cycle because he took the North Carolina job.
But he did, he back channeled on the Jets before they hired Aaron Glenn.
Yeah,
think about that.
The reporting was that he looked out there and saw there were no buyers, there were no takers.
Yeah, I know the report, but all right. That's as good a theory as any, I guess.
I mean, I think it's like, wow, this really, for all the extensive work that Pablo has done.
Which is ridiculous, by the way.
He's doing so much. He's at the Airbnb where Belichick got caught on the ring cam.
Belichick.
He rented that Airbnb, went up there.
You call it work. It's like, this is hardly Washington Post investigating Watergate.
Well, I mean, Pablo does a lot of that, too.
This is enterprise reporting.
This is TMZ light. Even TMZ is like, all right, relax, guy.
Wow.
Even TMZ said, "Relax, guy." No, listen, the guy's the highest paid employee and state employee in North Carolina. He's making $10 million a year. And this is just so out of character for him. And if it actually is true that NFL teams, as Pablo said, that NFL teams were confused by this and there weren't answers. And Belichick's also probably not going to explain himself. They're like, hey, what's up with the new PR person? He's not going to, I don't think he's going to be forthcoming. Put it that way.
All right.
Anyway.
I just think also it's naive to think that there aren't potential grenades that are out there with Bill Belichick dating someone so young. They just are.
It's possible.
You know, and I think that totally could be within the calculus of why an NFL team says, thanks, but no thanks. It's bad enough you were terrible without Tom Brady. Now we got to take all this other stuff that comes with it and hope that none of this blows up in our face. Pass.
But you guys are kind of saying that's the primary reason.
I think it's one of the reasons. Maybe a bigger reason than we thought. Because I didn't know she was around the Patriots in 2021. She's been around for a while. They might be engaged, maybe, according to the New York Times. She told one person that they're engaged. She's not going anywhere. Anyway, okay. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Back to hoops in just a moment, and we got a series on our hands.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Yo, still is deep though, no messed up bag. Took the wrong quote, now the whole squad is mad. Drag Maggie's name through the dirt so quick. When it was Perloff talking all that split. Now Steelers Nation's got torches lit. Thinking Maggie's lost the win, but y'all fact check for a bit. So let's talk about who's really full of Steelers Depot. Get your facts in check, blame the wrong one, man, show some respect. Perloff said it, love Maggie gets wrecked. Now your credibility's looking suspect. Lifetime contract, yet Perloff's take. But Depot's rushing just to make clickbait. Didn't even bother to hit replay. Now Maggie's out here fighting the hate. Next time double check that tape before you put a name on a hot debate. Journalism 101, learn the trade, or just admit you're through shade. Steelers Depot, get your facts in check. Blame the wrong one, man, show some respect. Perloff said it, but Maggie gets wrecked. Now your credibility's looking suspect. Yo, next time y'all wanna twist the tape, try listening before you make that mistake. Depot disaster, that's your name, and now you got yourselves to blame. Yo, still is deep though, no messed up bag. Took the wrong quote, now the whole squad is mad. Drag Maggie's name through the dirt so quick. When it was Perloff talking all that split. Now Steelers Nation's got torches lit. Thinking Maggie's lost the win, but y'all fact check for a bit. So let's talk about who's really full of Steelers Depot. Get your facts in check, blame the wrong one, man, show some respect. Perloff said it, but Maggie gets wrecked. Now your credibility's looking suspect. Lifetime contract, yet Perloff's take. But Depot's rushing just to make clickbait. Didn't even bother to hit replay. Now Maggie's out here fighting the hate. Next time double check that tape before you put a name on a hot debate. Journalism 101, learn the trade, or just admit you're through shade. Steelers Depot, get your facts in check. Blame the wrong one, man, show some respect. Perloff said it, but Maggie gets wrecked. Now your credibility's looking suspect. Yo, next time y'all wanna twist the tape, try listening before you make that mistake. Depot disaster, that's your name, and now you got yourselves to blame. Yo, still is deep though, no messed up bag. Took the wrong quote, now the whole squad is mad. Drag Maggie's name through the dirt so quick.
One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Here's Julius to trigger in. He lobs it, and it's caught by J-Dub, and the ball game is over. 128-126, the Thunder have defeated the Timberwolves. We were waiting for our first close game of the series. We got it.
Oh, yeah. Thank you to T-Wolves Radio. You could hear the somberness in their voice. Losing end of a 128-126 battles. You heard Welcome to the Show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, and now OKC leads the series 3-1. Good morning. Hope you had a great long holiday weekend. We sure did. Obviously a little bit better than Anthony Edwards, who was clearly the focal point of the Oklahoma City defense last night, and it worked. And he only scored 16 points.
They had 126 points.
Yeah, but he had 16 of them.
Right.
So,
but the Thunder had their worst defensive game of the playoffs, except for Game 3, where they weren't even trying. Like, they couldn't stop the T-Wolves, but it didn't matter. Again, I refuse to accept this. Anthony Edwards is to blame for what happened last night because they could not stop the Thunder at all. They never, ever got to stop.
Okay, so then do you think that Chris Finch, the head coach of the Timberwolves, is to blame?
Blitz SGA the second he gets over half court. The last minute of the game showed a lot. Every time they just let him catch the ball and go to the free throw line, I'm like, would you just cover him and not let him catch the ball? It's like they don't. It was so frustrating to watch that defensively. Everyone knew what was happening. It was going to be Jay Will or SGA just torching them, and they had no adjustment. Not a single adjustment the entire game.
Well, and they find themselves in this massive hole. I guess, here's my question, right? And maybe we're a victim sometimes of our own expectations, whether that's like when we're going on a great family vacation, and now you build up these expectations, or a wedding day or something like that. We've built up these expectations with Anthony Edwards in a way that, quite frankly, just may not fit. And I know that's weird to say because he's in the Western Conference Finals for the second straight year. So, obviously, the guy's amazing and deserves all the accolades and stuff that come his way. But there feels like there's no finding a way. Does that make sense? When we talk about the biggest stars, it's like finding a way. And either it's him and the Timberwolves. Mm-hmm. It's not a one-person game out there. I'll give you that.
Right.
So they're just not finding a way. The win they got was a 42-point blowout that feels kind of flukish. This was the first real close game here. And they were right in it until OKC obviously just hit their free throws down the stretch.
They hit 51%. The Minnesota, this is 51% of their shots, 43.9% of their threes. You know why they hit 43%? Because 44% basically because Anthony Edwards was kicking out to wide open guys. Their offense functioned beautifully, except for the turnovers.
Yeah, the turnovers killed them.
But at 126 points, their problems are defense right now. They don't know what to do with Rudy Gobert. He's good at moments. He's inconsistent. Again, are we killing Jokic because he lost the Thunder? The other alternative, the Thunder are just amazing. So I can't blame Anthony Edwards for this loss. As Ant-Man said after the game, he's like, I made the right play again and again and again. And that's one of the reasons we scored so many points. The problem is they do not. I would blame Ant. Ant should step up. If you really want to be the hero that we were promised, step up and say, I'm going to shut down Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I'm going to cover that dude, and I'm going to slow him down. But he can't.
Why not?
He's not good enough on defense.
Well, then that's a criticism.
Yeah, it is a criticism. He's not. EJ and I got this a little earlier. He's not an elite Michael Jordan level defender. SGA got on him a couple times and just took him.
Let's hear from Anthony Edwards. Says that he wish he did get more shots, but he credits OKC in their defense.
Definitely not the points I wanted to get, but they didn't really let me get too many shots off. They did a good job of that. Just making the right play, getting off of it, and My guys hit shots tonight, so big shout out to them.
Yeah, but not enough. And you're right, the turnovers really just killed this team. 23 turnovers. I feel like that's watching a college box score, 23 turnovers, 13 of them in the first half, and Anthony Edwards was responsible for 5 of them.
Yeah, I thought
including
it was
4 in the second half.
Yeah, turnovers were bad, but I thought it was a defensive failure on their part. A total and complete team failure. I mean, honestly, the Timberwolves are not that good of a team. Can we just say that, too?
Well, they're in the Western Conference Finals back-to-back years, and it's the Western Conference. You can criticize the East and say they're not a deep conference, but you can't criticize the West.
Curry doesn't get hurt. They're not here. Also, they would be the lowest seed ever to win the finals. Like, they're a 6 seed. They won 49 games. They're not an elite team.
I know. I feel like seeding now with the NBA means a little bit less because teams load manage and treat the regular season a little bit differently. Can I bring up another point? Because everyone hates the foul merchanting, right? And the complaining about the calls and all of that.
Brutal.
The fact that Anthony Edwards only got 4 free throw attempts in the second half, right? I know he didn't have the ball like in his hands enough, I guess, but aren't you trying to be aggressive? Like, Shai had 14 free throw attempts in the game yesterday, including 8 in the second half. A joke the way they were calling some of those calls on him. Okay, but the road team is coming in getting more calls than you. Like, that's the other thing about Ant, where it's, again, and not to put it all on one guy, but we're not expecting jack from Julius Randle. We're expecting a lot from you.
They scored 70 points in the second half. That prorates to 140 points in a game. They scored at will. They just could not get a stop.
Yeah.
So I hear you, and I think most of ESPN will blame Ant because that's the entire halftime show is about how Ant needs to do more. But there's clearly something else going wrong here. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, finally they slowed him down a little bit, but he is at some point just make someone else beat you, right? And actually they did last night. But I don't know. How do you stop this Thunder team? I don't know why people are talking about Ant. I really don't. I mean, if Steph Curry came out and scored 50 points on deep threes, no one's going to blame the other guy. We didn't blame Jokic for losing the Thunder, did we?
Well, I mean, I think Jokic, first of all, it's 7-game series, right? I think that people generally think that Jokic doesn't have a good enough team around him, which is crazy because it's some of the same guys that they won a title with. I mean, they also fired their coach 2 weeks before the playoffs. There was some weird stuff going on with Denver this year.
Yeah, I don't think Minnesota's team is great around Anthony either. I think, and also too, I just heard that most of these guys are gone next year. Naz Reid's gone. Conley I assume he's going to retire at some point.
Well, that's this is the very oversimplified, super obvious take. The Minnesota Timberwolves need a better point guard. And no disrespect to Mike Conley, he's had a phenomenal career, but is he 35?
Right, he's up
higher
there.
than that. EJ's like putting his
37.
go higher. 37. I mean, listen, guys have great careers. Older, LeBron's 41 or about to be 41, but
DiVincenzo, by the way, is a defensive hole on this team. How'd that happen? There's so many problems with this team.
But hold on. So the point guard thing is something they really have to fix because what also happened, we're talking about the turnovers last night, but what else was happening? You have a lot of Julius Randle bringing the ball up the floor at times, and he is not a great dribbler.
Ask Knicks fans how that works out.
Yeah, it's not great when he's
Randle handle.
The point forward or whatever. So getting I don't know, we'd have to take a look at who's out there or what's available, but getting another point guard and someone for Anthony Edwards has clearly got to be a massive, focal point, no?
You mean defensively or offensively? Because their offense is awesome. So they need somebody. They were built to beat one team, the Denver Nuggets.
Yep.
So they went tall and slow. And now you get Oklahoma City comes in with just a bunch of 6'4" to 6'6" guys who are super fast, and they're not built for this at all. Like, how is Naz Reid supposed to cover Kayson Wallace or whoever? Sure. It's just they're a terrible matchup. They got Julius Randle's big, Rudy Gobert's big. Jaden McDaniels is an amazing wing defender, but he can't stop anyone's dribble. And Nickeil Walker-Alexander can't stop anybody. They're just built the wrong way. I'm sorry, did I say Walker? Alexander Walker. I keep screwing this up.
It's fine. You just must mention that it's Shai's cousin, or else there's an electronic buzzer that goes off under your seat.
Andrea learned that for the first time last night. She was like, and that was it.
Yeah, no, they're built to beat the Nuggets. They're not built to play with this Thunder team who's just much, much faster, much more, much deeper. There's a lot of problems with the T-Wolves. Again, I'm the only one out there defending Ant today. I don't think there's anything he could have done differently. They were face guarding him 94 feet throughout the thing. And that's why nobody was out covering the 3-point guys because they were all watching Ant.
We're also asking you if Shai can be the face of the league. Kind of feels a little obvious to me that he would be. I know sometimes we throw this term around, but he's got the MVP,
right.
He's got the crossover appeal. It doesn't matter, as far as like commercials and such. It doesn't matter if you're in a small market. The NBA has proven that over and over again.
Well, the face, you mean like Giannis? So was Giannis a face? The thing is, the face. Well, right. Like Giannis won MVP in the finals. Was he the face? Like you could be a face for a little bit, but the face of the NBA implies lasting power.
Yeah, I guess I just don't see Jokic taking that mantle, right? Like he's the 3-time MVP, but he's completely opted out from wanting to do anything else as far as promoting the league.
But do you think SGA would be the heir apparent to LeBron James as the singular player of the league?
I think he has the potential.
Yeah.
I mean, the winning's got to come with it.
Right. If he gets 2 or 3 titles.
And you think this is the era of parity so that we're not going to have dynasties anymore.
I did until last night.
Yeah, watching last night's game, my takeaway was Pacers, Knicks, you better beat this team this year. Because Chet is only getting better. Jalen Williams is only getting better. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is absolutely in the prime of his career and is unguardable. Yeah. So good luck trying to guard those guys as they get more experience and more comfortable in these moments.
Jalen Williams is only 24, and it already looks like the most mature guy on the court. It's going to be it's going to be trouble. Which in that scenario, I think SGA could become the face of the league because championships make a huge difference in this discussion.
The other thing that he is lacking right now, but I'm not saying it couldn't happen, is not a natural rival, unless it's Anthony Edwards. But he's outplaying Edwards right now.
Well, who is LeBron's natural rival?
I think Curry. I mean, I think it changed. I think it was Boston. It was like Detroit and Boston were his rivals. Then kind of everyone was his rival because he went to Miami and everyone hated it with the decision. So he kind of was this villain thing that kept him very interesting. And then later it was Curry.
Well, I don't think he needed a rival to become the face of the league.
No, he was so
came
hyped
in the chosen one.
Yeah,
and I hear what you're saying. That series, those 3 or 4 series really did help the NBA. I just wonder, too, we think SGA is going to be the face of the league right now, but we kind of thought it might be Tatum last year. We kind of thought it might be Jokic the year before. We kind of thought it might be whatever. Like something, this is a league where everybody gets hurt. It's I heard it be called now the playoffs are a warranty issue. Can the car stop from falling apart before they get to game 6 of the NBA Finals?
The irony of that you are also living through the load management era is insane.
It's who's going to be healthy is the question on everyone's mind because the Celtics clearly got hurt this year. So we'll see. They do look pretty unstoppable, and I think EJ's point is right. They ain't getting any worse. They're only getting better, and they have a lot of draft picks too.
By the way, though, if OKC does get through to the finals and whoever they face, whether it's the Pacers or the Knicks, I mean, they're going to be obviously favored pretty large in that series.
I think the Pacers are a better matchup. And I don't mean that as an anti-Knicks thing because of the depth. I think I worry that the Knicks handle all that pressure for all those different players on the Thunder? It feels like a bad matchup for New York.
I want to get to the Knicks in just a moment because even though there were actually some bench players that appeared over the weekend.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Who are those guys?
Right?
I was like, oh, yeah,
Shout out to Landry Shamet. Let's go.
Weren't you on a subway with Landry Shamet? I kept thinking about that.
Yes. It was summer. He actually then later ended up signing with the Knicks. But I was like, Landry Shamet just riding the one train.
And I was wondering, how did you recognize Landry Shamet?
Oh, that hairline.
It wasn't the hairline. It was a guy who sat down. He had these long legs, and I was like, that guy's long legs for a regular New Yorker. And I looked up, and I was like, oh, that's Landry Shamet.
I feel like I'm on a subway with 5 people who kind of look like Landry Shamet. He just doesn't look like an NBA player. He looks more like an accountant, if you don't mind me saying. He was out there last time. I'm like, oh my God, that's Landry Shamet.
He's like,
Sixer legend.
It's after April 15th, so now he's got time.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I actually respect him more for that because I don't even know, is he from New York? I don't think he's from New York. Right, but that's the best way to travel.
Exactly.
Keep your Escalades and your town cars and all that stuff. You're a sucker sitting in traffic.
I just assumed he was working for like Charles Schwab or something at this point, right? I mean, did everyone, when he came in last night, I think a lot of people were like, wow, is that the guy who was in the NBA a few years ago?
Well, DeLon Wright, too.
Wright was more, Wright.
It was like, whoa.
He played like a week for the Knicks this year when the campaign was hurt, and that was it. Shaman's been in the rotation for most of the season, and he had one He had a bad 5-minute stretch in the first game of the playoffs, and Tibbs was like, to the gulag.
Lock him up and throw away the key.
Hadn't seen him since.
Wow. Yeah, so I think the Knicks are well rested now because some other guys came in and played for 30 seconds.
Watch out, guys.
888-710-4ISN. We'll get to Knicks Pacers because looky here. We got a series on our hands. Just when things looked like they couldn't be any bleaker. The Knicks pull out a game.
Let's go, Knicks!
So we've got that to get to. It is Tuesday, but we are going to do the M&P 500. Whose stock is up, whose stock is down after a big holiday weekend, and so much more from the world of college football as well. We would not forget that. It's a Maggie Perloff Show. Happy Tuesday.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. Busy sports weekend. Are we doing M&P 500? I'm just going to do
you want
a
to talk
production.
Knicks Pacers or you want to do M&P 500?
I always want to talk Knicks Pacers.
All right, give me your Knicks Pacers. What do
Okay.
you got? Then we'll do M&P.
Well, I got into a fight with some Knicks people online.
That sounds like a fun Saturday.
Pacers killed
Sunday.
themselves by milking the 24-second clock like they're not a run team. So they played to the Knicks pace. They scored 138 points in the first game, 114 points in the second game, and 100 points in the third game. Is that not a massive problem? Why would they slowing down the game to play into the Knicks' hands? I didn't understand it at all. I felt like your guy, Rick Carlisle, your personal friend, kind of took his foot off the gas and played nervous in game 3 because they were up 20 with a 3-0 lead on the line. I thought they kind of clammed up.
You know, I actually think it's something a little bit more obvious, I think, than that. I think Nesmith got hurt and it kind of threw. I know they're a really deep team. I know it was late, but they had the 20-point lead.
But when did Nesmith get hurt, though? I think they'd already kind of blown the lead.
It was like third quarter, I thought, that he left. And now, to be fair, he came back, but there was a couple things here. You're right. I mean, the Knicks have made like a cottage industry of coming back from 20-point games, and I think that the Pacers did allow them to come back, right? They slowed the game down a little bit. It was not just trying to pull the Knicks out to deep water. It wasn't trying to just exhaust them. But what I thought was just hilarious to me was people couldn't have run Karl Anthony Towns out of town quicker, and then he's the guy who saves the season. I mean, the season.
I'm wet. I'm dirty.
How he pulled off that fourth quarter where he was just completely unstoppable. I mean, that's it.
He should be like that every fourth quarter. That's the funny thing about him.
Yep. Well, that's the frustrating part, right? And that's why he doesn't get a lot of credit as being a great postseason player. But, I mean, there were times when, first of all, in that game, the Knicks, you couldn't even recognize them. You know, and it's funny because
that was amazing.
You can go both ways on this. Either you can give Tom Thibodeau a lot of credit because he was trying to throw the kitchen sink and he was trying everything and he wasn't just going to go down without a fight or changing stuff up. And I've seen people criticize him for the exact same thing because it looked like they were floundering out there. You're playing with lineups who have never played together on the court. So, you know, to me, I tend to criticize someone like that. Because I don't think you should really be playing with a lineup that's not played together, especially, was it 15 different lineup combinations and 7 of those combinations had never played with each other before?
But I think the criticism was he never...
Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals?
But he never uses his bench, and he finally used his bench.
Eastern, pardon me?
We've always said he should use his bench.
And the problem was the starting lineup has been the worst lineup in the playoffs this year. The lineup that they went with Hart in the starting lineup, statistically, he's had the worst plus-minus
Minus
throughout
29.
throughout the entire NBA playoffs. So that's why when you put Mitch in the starting lineup, it messes everything up in terms of the rest of the rotation.
But here's the thing. Like, starting lineups are one thing. What was the closing lineup? The same lineup.
Yeah, the same starting
It's
five.
the same starting 5. Like,
yeah,
Mitch played, Mitchell Robinson we're talking about, did he even play a full minute in the fourth quarter? Because Cat was killing him. It was awesome. So it's like it just felt like they were grasping at some points. And again,
which was great. That was the
some
save
people
the series.
like that.
Oh my God, playing those guys was a lifeline. They should have been going their bench much, much more. That's what I came away with. Obviously, because they don't have Jalen Brunson can't play defense. They don't have enough. They don't have the right defensive mix against the Pacers. Normally.
Well, with Jalen Brunson and with Karl Anthony Towns on defense, you have like two kind of
that's
liabilities there. So,
but you know, one
challenge.
thing. Can we have that argument about your tweet and without it getting heated here?
Sure, go ahead.
So you tweeted after game 2, not game 3.
Yeah, another tough loss.
Is it time to start questioning Jalen Brunson's late game decision making? Which I understand. And
I love Brunson,
by
the way. Easy to root for. But
I've never seen a guy play like this last 2. It's like I thought he's the black box of an NBA player. Get the last 2 minutes of Jalen Brunson and make the whole game like that. He'd score 80 points a game. He's shooting like 80% in the last 2 minutes of games.
Who needs
In
Brunson?
game 2, he had 5 points in the last minute 30, and he assisted on another. He did fire up that last 3 a little quickly, but he doesn't miss. It's incredible. I'm like, I don't understand how he does it, and why does he do that all game long?
Well, I mean, he does. He's a really great player.
He's much more efficient at the end of a fourth quarter than he is in the first quarter.
You're not going to win Mr. Clutch if you're without being awesome in crunch time. But I guess here's the thing about why I sent out that tweet. One, it was, these are 2 games where the margin is just so razor thin. This is not the Western Conference Finals. The Eastern Conference Finals, these games have been so tight. Miracle shots. I mean, everything. Overtime, all that stuff. He had 2 bad turnovers in game 1. And I thought, yes, they're not here without Jalen Brunson. That goes without saying. But in the final possessions in game 2, I thought it was 2 bad things. Not just the 3-pointer that he took that was way too fast, bricked. But it was also pulling at the jersey where Tyrese Halliburton was basically throwing the ball out of bounds. It looked like out of bounds. I wasn't sitting courtside, but it looked out of bounds, and it felt like Brunson really bailed him out because he pulled on the jersey so hard that he got called for an obvious foul. And at that point, it was a 1-point game, pushed it to a 3-point game. Then he bricks the 3. It just...
I thought that was, they were clearly going to foul as quickly as they could. I'm like, they got it really fast.
No, but the ball was going to be a turnover.
That's because he had tackled the guy who was going to catch it.
No, I think that ball was just going out of bounds. I'm telling you, you guys know, I've been talking about this for weeks. Those inbounds plays are like not a sure thing anymore in basketball. And so I thought he was throwing the ball away. It could have been an all-time bonehead mistake. We were talking about how would we be talking about Halliburton if that, shot that clanged off the back of the iron and went up in the sky and just happened to land in the net, sending the game to overtime.
People say that all the time.
How would we talk about Halliburton if that just clanged off the side, right? How would we be talking about him now if he had just thrown the ball out of bounds and, Knicks get the ball back, Knicks win. Now they're up 2-1.
What do you mean? I think, I don't know. I think everyone is rushed to anoint Halliburton a little early myself. But
how many shots does he have to hit? He's been amazing in this playoffs.
He's good, but I don't think he's a top 5 NBA player.
Well, whatever, but he's on a top 5 NBA player run right now because some of these clutch shots he's been hitting in all playoffs long have been on.
Yeah, he's super clutch, but top 5. Well, let's see what happens when he sees Oklahoma City Thunder, if that happens. I just think that Jalen Brunson is a miracle at the end of games. He just does not miss a shot. In that game 2,
he
hit a 3. Now, I understand his last 3, he's like, this is the best look I'm going to get because they can foul me. Just like you saw last night in the Thunder game, the Thunder T-Wolves game, they were up 3. The Pacers were up 3. They could have played the foul game, and he might not have gotten a look at all. So he's trying that Damian Lillard game winner right there. He can hit that shot. I didn't think it was an awful decision. He's very clutch.
There also was a timeout there that you could have called, but I get that.
That would have been a problem too, because then they could have set their defense and then really planned their foul.
And inbounding the ball.
It's hard to come back from 3. Hard. Yeah, I think they would have. If they had had more time and it settled down, the Pacers would have used their fouls there, sent them to the line.
The Knicks will, though, for Brunson in terms of crunch time, as good as he is late in games, they won that game essentially with him off the bench. Like that fourth quarter in game 3, he did make a late basket after they put him in with under 2 minutes left.
Which was sick, by the way.
Yeah, incredible shot. Incredible shot. But the Knicks showed that, hey, they can actually run an offense without him being the entire focal point and pound the ball into the ground. So you would hope maybe he learned something from that, because Karl Anthony Towns has shown that he could be a kind of closer as well if you give him an opportunity. But if it's just the Jalen Brunson show, it's all him or bust. It's a tough. You're living and dying with everything he's doing.
Totally agree.
So the other irony of this is that if the Knicks want to win this series, so they're back in, right? It's 2-1, doors open. Knicks are a really good road team. Both teams actually are really good road teams. So it's funny to me that, again, the guy who gets the most crap is obviously Karl Anthony Towns. Easily, right? Of anyone on that team.
Yes.
you need more of him if you want to win.
Yes.
He's your max player. Yeah. I mean, he's a
Right.
5-time All-Star.
Do you understand that Knicks fans want to drive this guy and drop him into the Hudson River? Like, the funny part is you're going to have to actually have more of him, not less, not diminish, not more Mitchell Robinson. It's going to have to be more of Karl Anthony Towns, and then you're going to have to live with the results.
Yeah, but I think the Knicks know that. I think that the fans know that. The problem is he was playing poorly. Like, he was so terrible for really three quarters, but definitely the first half, where he just was taking terrible shots. Shaq said if he was on my team, we'd be fighting at halftime for some of the shots he was taking. And he was right. He was taking awful shots. He took the Knicks out of that game, and then he brought them back in with how he played. But there's no reason why he can't play like that. The question I have for the Pacers is there an adjustment to doubling Karl Anthony Towns when he gets going like that? Because he also had a big game one. A lot of things got lost in the shuffle of that comeback for the Pacers. I think Cat had 36 points or 35 points, something crazy. I mean, he's dominated the Pacers for the regular season. He's now dominated them for 2 of the 3 games that were played in this series. Is there adjustment for the Pacers, or do you let him cook and say, maybe if we just stop Brunson, we can still win?
Yeah, I mean, Miles Turner cannot cover him.
Right.
There's no doubt. He's got his number. That's happened to me many times where I'm like, the guy I'm trying to cover knows he's better than me. And Miles Turner does not have.
It's a tough feeling.
Cover Cat.
I hate that.
Every player's like, oh crap. And you can see it. SGA when he got DiVincenzo last night is like, oh boy, this is bad.
Is this when you start like faking a pinky injury?
So you try to get somebody else switch. Hope the game ends.
Help! Call for help.
Or if somebody says even a whisper of a pick, you're like, switch. I'm out. I'm out. That's what actually last night was happening. Guys were like not wanting SGA. They're like, Rudy, you switch. Rudy Gobert, you switch onto him. But no, Cat's that's a tough one. But the Pacers have so many different edges, though. There's so many ways the Pacers have an advantage. I don't know. It's weird to say they're worried about Cat. Should the Knicks be worried about the Pacers?
Definitely.
I think the Nesmith thing is bigger.
Yeah, Nesmith, they were up 13 when he got hurt in the third quarter.
And now he's going to play, right? But who
Game
knows
time
what
decision.
it's like.
Yeah,
but Nesmith's not one of the top scorers for them. I feel like
the guy hit 8 or 9 threes in the miracle comeback, but
I would say their order of importance is obviously Halliburton, Siakam, then Miles Turner, Nesmith, and Nembhard has the ball in his hands a lot. Again, this is so funny. Last year, remember the series where the Knicks were up 2-0 and they were about to win Game 3, and then it all just turned. So I'm wondering if that could happen in this year's series.
It's been an unbelievable series. It really has. I've been talking to people who have no dog in the fight, not Knicks, not Pacers, but they have just been awesome games. Really good. Andrew Bogusch is here with the latest headlines.
Hello again. So they chanted free throw merchant in Minnesota last night. Even Doris Burke mentioned Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's unwanted nickname on ESPN last night. 14 free throws for the MVP in Game 4 Minnesota, and he almost missed one too many.
He can make it a 2-possession lead. He lets it fly. Missed it! Randall has the rebound, timeout, 8.4 seconds left. It popped out for SGA.
Alan Horton on T-Wolves radio. SGA left the door open slightly for the T-Wolves, but they never got a chance at the tying 3. Alex Caruso fouled Anthony Edwards. He had the first free throw, missed the second on purpose, but Minnesota did not get the rebound. The Thunder holding on for a 128-126 win and a 3-1 lead in this Western Conference final. SGA and friends get their first chance to end the series at home tomorrow night.
We have to want it more than them. We have to want to win the game more than they want to win the game. We have to focus on the things that are going to help us win the game and understand the mindset of our opponent above all.
Gilgeous-Alexander's 40 points, 9 rebounds, and
Catch
10
the excitement in that quote, Bogue.
Face of the league.
Face of the league. Let's
Voice
go.
of the league.
By the way, I saw Master
Shai
Tess,
Gilgeous-Alexander,
friend of the show, tweeted that he feels like the NBA should ban the foul while you're up 3 thing. Because this game, which was a phenomenal game, became a free throw contest in the last 30 seconds, which was not great basketball.
And if you're on the East Coast, and hate to do that, but like it was getting late. And now you must have had 6 commercial breaks. I'm not faulting ESPN for this. Like, make your money. But were there 6 commercial breaks in the last 10 minutes of game action? Am I being old
definitely.
lady?
Yeah, and then ironically,
the
one time where they needed to take a break and look at a challenge or look at a replay, they didn't, because the T-Wolves definitely should have had more time on the clock on the last play.
Then 0.3?
Yeah, they should have had 0.6. They were saying the guy caught the ball out of bounds. I'm like, that's nothing to do with anything.
No, it's when it breaks the plane, I thought, right?
Which it broke the plane around 0.6. So they couldn't even, in theory, they could have got a shot where they could actually shoot the ball, not tip it in.
Sure.
So the last 1 minute of this game, which should have been awesome, was kind of ruined by fouling and then a non-review.
Well, I think the NBA actually has a bit of a problem on their hands because the officials don't know how to call SGA. Like, they're either too soft or they're too strong. People hate it. Nobody's watching this Thunder T-Wolves series, but when they get to the finals and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander goes to the line 16 times, people are going to be like, this is not entertaining. So I think, honestly, I thought a bunch of calls last night should not have been made on SGA. That's how I feel like DiVincenzo just brushed by him the one call foul line. Guy, there's too many fouls here, right? They got to either not call anything or call everything. I don't know what they do.
I mean, listen, there's a long history of guys the officials not knowing how to officiate guys. Like, we lived through Shaquille O'Neal. I mean, it was impossible to officiate how he was called. But did you guys like what Spike put on Twitter, our old boss, Spike Eskin, that if you complain about a foul, it should be a tech on you?
Play him if you want to.
You should get a tech if you complain.
No, you can't do that.
I think that's what I don't want to misquote him here.
Because sometimes the refs actually change a call because they realize they probably got it wrong because someone complained. Now, then you have the Miles Turner situation where he just calls for a travel on Cat that wasn't one, and they just give it to him. That was ridiculous. But there are times where guys will complain about something, and then another ref will come in and say, actually, I got a better look at that. It should be the other team's ball.
He said, complaining about calls should be an instant tech. He says a couple other things here, but yeah.
You know who's Alex Caruso is working the officials the whole time because he fouls every single play. The second he's in the court, foul. They're the Seahawks Legion of Boom. They've actually they call themselves that almost. They're like, well, the officials are just going to get bored and they're going to stop calling everything.
What I see too is I feel like, to me, when I watch these games, which is frustrating as a Knicks fan, is I feel like contact away from the ball they don't care about, and then contact on the ball they're calling very close because. People talk about Brunson foul baiting. You can grab and basically tackle Brunson for 94 feet. It's when he gets the ball when they want to call a foul. And I think when you watch this OKC Thunder series, it's not always so much that they're beating up on Anthony Edwards as he's driving to the basket. It's more that they're grabbing him away from the ball.
They're wrapping him with two arms, like an NFL defensive tackle.
Yeah, and I keep yelling, that's a foul. You have to call that. That's a foul. So I feel like, to me, it's like certain teams, the way they play defense is being rewarded. I think the Pacers play a little more physical off the ball. The Thunder play more physical off the ball. That gets rewarded. But then for the Knicks and the T-Wolves, who play more, I think, physical when you have the ball, when you're going to the basket, a touch is a foul. Like, it can't. They have to fix that. That, I think, has been a problem.
I liked throwing out the tweet. The officiating is terrible in this game. And I don't say which way. And both fan bases are like, yeah, you go Perloff, you tell them.
What, are you running for mayor?
No, it's my favorite because officials don't know what they're doing. Yes, like. Can we
get Perloff we seen the mayor here wear the Knicks Mets hat? Can we get Perloff a Thunder T-Wolves hat?
He would be good.
Oh, yeah. I definitely, I'm thinking about buying all 4 hats that are remaining in the playoffs and jumping. I've even jumped on the Knicks bandwagon a little bit. I have no shame.
You're welcome.
I have
no problem with that.
Years ago.
If the Pacers want to sit me in the front row, I'll come on that bandwagon.
Perloff versus John Halliburton. Let's go.
Or their best friends.
In your face. I like the cut of John Halliburton's jib. I'm not going to lie.
Perloff thought he got a raw deal. We're like, he's in Giannis' face. He's like, come on.
He apologized.
You should have seen the vet back in 1988.
I stabbed a guy.
I mean, Giannis was like, stitches get stitches. He was like, held a Pacers sign up. I don't know what Giannis was so mad about.
Snitches get stitches.
What else you got?
Snitches get stitches over that?
Caitlin Clark will miss the first games.
I can't believe they say that in Greece, too. All right, go.
Of her WNBA career, out at least 2 weeks where they left quad strain. She didn't say anything about that leg until after Saturday's home loss to the Liberty. Is it a gentleman's sweep or the start of a comeback? The Carolina Hurricanes avoiding a sweep with a 3-0 win in Florida in Game 4 of hockey's Eastern Conference Final. Head coach Rod Brindamore realistic after the W.
We know that they're not going away. This is not. It's not even a blimp on the radar for them. Is how they're looking at it. But we have to keep the gas down or keep the hammer down and give us a chance again.
Game 5 in their building tomorrow night. So happy to report that the Yankees are still surging.
Opie trying to pick up at least one run here with a fly ball at the very least. Next pitch, swung on, drive to center field. Slicing drive. Going back Taylor. It bounces off the fence. Scoring is Grisham. Judge right behind him. Belly's flying. He's going to score. Anthony Volpe. A 3-run double in the Yankees. Expand the lead to 4-1 here in the 4th inning.
Dave
Hey now!
Sims on Yankees radio. The Bombers a 5-1 win in Anaheim. They've now won 9 of 10.
Yes.
The Rays on a 6-game win streak after a 7-2 home win over the Twins. And the Dodgers 7-2 winners in Cleveland. Shohei Ohtani a leadoff homer for the 2nd straight day. And the SEC breaking its own record with 13 teams in the 64-team NCAA baseball tournament. That's 2 more than last season, and it includes the number 1 overall seed from Vanderbilt. Guys, back to you.
Bogusch, thank you so much. Coming up next, it is Tuesday, but we're going to do the M&P 500. Whose stock is up, whose stock is down after a nice holiday weekend. Don't move.
Mm-hmm. You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The M&P 500 on the Infinity Sports Network.
Welcome back to the Maggie Perloff Show. So normally we do this on Mondays, but holiday yesterday. EJ did a great job filling in, but we're going to do this on a Tuesday because it was a long weekend. The M&P 500, whose stock is up, whose stock is down after a big weekend. Pearl, you want to start us off?
Yeah, okay. I'm going to go to Shohei Ohtani, who's almost always stock up when we do this. He's had 2 consecutive games with leadoff home runs. Second time he's done that in his career. He's up to 19 home runs. First time he's ever hit 19 home runs before June 1st. Leads the majors. So he also on Sunday pitched off the mound. Now, I would do a stock down because why do you need this dude to pitch? He is Babe Ruth. I had the analogy, the 27 Yankees put Babe Ruth back in the pitching rotation? He is the best hitter in baseball by so far and away. What do you need him pitching for? That's just my take. But he's getting better at the plate, Maggie. I can't believe it. He is unbelievable. There's nowhere to pitch this guy. Anywhere, even in the vicinity of the plate, it's a home run. And I feel like he's headed towards another historic MVP season at the plate.
I know. I have him in our home run derby.
Wait, was that an up or a down?
Yeah. Are you stock up or stock down on him?
That's stock up. Stock up because
stock up on him hitter or stock down on him possibly pitching?
I don't think he should pitch. I think it's totally a luxury that they don't need necessarily because I'd like to see him go on a run of 7 or 8 straight MVPs as a hitter. Honestly, he's Babe Ruth.
I know.
Just acknowledge that he is exactly the same trajectory as the other dude.
But here's the thing, and I know they just won, so I think that's kind of clouding a little bit. The Dodgers rotation has fallen apart year after year after year. So they just won this past year, and they were able to get through. But even when the staff did have injuries, and they were able to have reserves, but the pitching staff has been weirdly the thing that's let them down in all the times they've fallen short. So I think they envision Ohtani coming out of the bullpen in a Game 6 in the NLCS or the World Series and closing things out for them.
I see.
Something like
since
that.
They're defending champs, it feels more like a luxury, and I think it's an oddity. I don't think it's a strategic thing because I think the strategic thing, like, wow, you got to protect this guy in the bat. I mean, a hitter like that, an everyday hitter like that is so valuable. He leads off.
My stock up is going to go to Tyrese Halliburton's dad, John, back in the building. We were wondering, this dude stepped to Giannis, which is a stupid idea. Got himself banned, and now he's going to be back just in time, I guess, to see this series go maybe a little bit deeper than we thought. So John Halliburton, who, again, unceremoniously thrown out like Uncle Phil did DJ Jazzy Jeff, now back in the building. Although he's got to be in a suite because he can't be trusted to be anywhere near the court. That's fair. And he can't travel with the team either, so it's just Pacer home games.
Yeah,
a lot of stipulations here.
Yeah, he's got to have a lot of fun. Okay, I'll do a stock down. To me, and I'm going to keep hammering this home, the Minnesota Timberwolves defense was a disaster last night. Basically, they did everything wrong, let up 50% shooting. They themselves shot 51% from the field and still lost the game. I just do not understand. At a certain point, are you going to double team Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? You're just going to let him score 100 points? Is he going to be the next Wilt Chamberlain? Do something. Try something different because you are losing this series, and it's all because of one man. You're making Shai Gilgeous-Alexander look like a combination of Steph Curry, LeBron James, and Michael Jordan. To me, this is on the T-Wolves. And if I was a fan, I would be so frustrated watching these games. I was frustrated because I am a fan. I'm like, just get a stop. Anytime tonight, just get one stop and I'll be happy.
My stock down, it's going to keep going down and down when we get stories like this. I got to give it to Jordan Hudson. I know it seems like she's taken, now it's like the avalanche of criticism on Bill Belichick's girlfriend / business affairs manager, PR person, whatever it is. Sometimes it can feel like piling on, but, she's been everywhere with him. And as he's doing this book tour, she's been like right beside him.
Yep.
Now, he was on the Pivot podcast, which is like Ryan Clark's pod. And everyone thought, Bill came off really well in that podcast. And I listened to it, actually. It was a really good listen. It was one of his best interviews. But it starts off with Ryan Clark and Bill talking about Jordan Hudson. And it probably goes for like 4 minutes. So Channing Crowder is also on that podcast. And he said behind the scenes, it was very uncomfortable.
It's weird to know him as Coach Belichick running the entire organization as GM, head coach, talent coordinator, all that stuff. And then to see this tiny little 95-pound girl kind of pretty much telling him what to do.
So she was there?
She was there. She choreographed the open.
Wow.
Yeah, no, she was there and she kind of coordinated.
Yeah, and it's just like not going great. Although the book, I guess, is a New York Times bestseller.
Yeah,
so
all
jokes
publicity,
on us.
good publicity for that book.
Yeah, I guess so.
But wait, I don't know. That feels a little harsh, man. Like, if she was just a normal PR person doing that, would that be so bad?
I mean, I've dealt with normal, not famous PR people for doing this kind of stuff, and I think it's horrible look for them. It leaves a terrible taste in your mouth about them and their client, and the client has nothing to do with it.
For choreographing the media, that seems a little strong. But you said it was a good interview. She obviously did somebody did something right.
I just think that her stock keeps going down because it feels like she's playing puppet master on Bill. And I think that's hard for people to get used to.
His stock should be going down, not hers. Could you argue
Both
that?
of them. Stock all the way down. All the way down. You want to do another round?
Okay, stock up. I'm going to go back to NBA. Chet Holmgren. Felt like we saw him pass through puberty and become a man last night. I think you said that on Twitter, Jay.
What?
He was like, wow. All of a sudden, that guy showed up, the guy we've been waiting for last night. Big block at the end of the game. This by far, I think, his best postseason game. They let him alone, and he totally burned them. I think, he had one game where he had more points against Memphis, but that was easy. 21 points, 3 blocks that were a big deal. A steal, 9 for 14 from the field. Chet Holmgren became a man last night. You can see him growing in real time. It's kind of cool. He's 23 now, wasn't healthy last year. He looks like a potential NBA star. I don't think you've really seen the full package like you did last night because he could be a great shot blocker. But he usually doesn't show up in that way at all. Last night he completely did.
It's been amazing to watch. Can I go away from sports on this one? Stock up on me not having to get in the pool anymore. This is awesome. This is for the parents out there. Once your kid learns to swim and you can just watch them from the side, you still got to watch them. Got to have all eyes, at all times. But I no longer, as of yesterday, my kid can just swim in a pool and I can watch very closely, but I don't have to be in there. And I feel like I just served like a 5.5-year prison sentence. Thank you. And I just got let out early.
Prison?
Or whatever. Dude,
Seems strong.
I don't love getting in the pool.
Wow.
What's wrong with getting in the pool?
I don't know. I don't want to get my hair wet. I got a million reasons I don't want to get in the pool. And the thing is, the moment that you have a kid, you're in the pool more than you've ever been in the pool in the 20 years preceding that. No? Anyone?
Yeah, no, you're coming off a little bit.
Guys,
actually, I understood what you meant for.
Free at last. I'm free, guys.
How many people die to go into a pool somewhere? Like people living in Alaska where it's still 50 degrees right now.
No.
I'd love jumping in a pool.
I get it. I'm not turning my nose up at the pool. I'm turning my nose up at
you are.
Always having to get in the pool. Do you understand how much a 5-year-old wants to swim?
No, I don't.
Every day.
Because 5-year-olds know what fun is about, Maggie. This is why we need the youth.
And they don't care. It could be 70 degrees less. They'll jump right in. Guys, just take my word for it. Perloff, I can't believe you're abandoning me on this one. It's amazing when you don't have to get in the pool anymore.
I don't know. You're expressing it as a universal parent experience.
Maybe it's different for guys.
By the way, 5 years. How old is your kid?
He's 5.5.
So at 0, he was trying to get in the pool?
Well, we had got to do the swim lessons, the mommy and me. You didn't have to do any of that stuff.
You're coming off terrible, Maggie.
You got to teach them how to hold their breath underwater,
Yeah, it's called blow bubbles. It's called basic parenting.
Dude, it's a nightmare when it comes to the pool.
I had to do mommy and me swim classes, and you're complaining? Thank God that aspect of my life is over.
And never coming back.
How much head dunking did you do in mommy and me swim classes?
Just wait. You got to do a thing and teach them how to hold their breath.
When you said it earlier to me offhandedly, it made sense. When you present it as a take like that, I'm like, wow, that sounds bad.
Now I'm the bad guy?
Yeah.
Oh.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, so it turns out the Steelers may have some options besides Aaron Rodgers. Welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Rodgers over the weekend, Austin, Texas, answering some questions and being kind of like tongue-in-cheek, asking, questions from Bears fans and Saints fans and where are you going to play. Meanwhile, while he's doing that and is not reported to the Steelers, and they start their OTAs today, Pearl, it looks like, according to ESPN, that Kirk Cousins still on the radar for the Steelers as a viable plan B. Do you like it?
No, but I like it just as much like Rodgers. So I was sort of countering your take that the Steelers shouldn't bring in Rodgers because there's no upside. I get it. I don't love it, but the Steelers are not going to rebuild. It's just not going to happen. So get it out of your head. So if that's the case, I'd rather have Kirk Cousins than Mason Rudolph. Now, the question will be Atlanta has to pay some of that money, so it'll be a cheap option. I guess I like
Pittsburgh
Cousins.
has to take on some of the money.
They take on some of the money. The debate is how much will each side take on. They want Atlanta to offset up to $20 million out of his $35 million salary. So I think the Steelers, if they can get a bargain, you're better with Cousins than Mason Rudolph.
But better how? Better how I ask
I knew you didn't like this.
Well, I'm just asking because I would also say maybe the same thing that has to go to Rodgers.
Yeah.
But even with Cousins, what are you winning a Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins and the Steelers? The answer is no. The answer is no. Okay.
You sure aren't.
So what are we doing here? And by we, I mean the Steelers. If you're not going to win a Super Bowl, so you're going to be just good enough to keep Mike Tomlin's gaudy win-loss record alive, to keep fans frustrated but not really be a contender, and you're no closer to finding your franchise quarterback. Unless you think you don't need to be picking in the top 10 or, top 12 to find a franchise quarterback. If you think that and you can find the next, they did Kenny Pickett. They picked him at 20 or 21?
21, I think.
Right. And if you think you don't need a high draft pick, well, then fine. Great. Go for it. The DK Metcalf trade, try to make that pay off in its first year. All those things are fine. But I'm just looking at the Steelers, and I have no proof that they can find a quarterback, a franchise quarterback, without picking high.
So you're saying that their decisions from here on out should be about getting a better draft position? Is that what you're saying? Because that sounds like what you're saying.
Well, in the short term, you don't have to do that strategy forever. You don't have to be the Chicago White Sox. You don't have to be tanking year after year after year. So
if they have a linebacker, a guy they drafted in the fourth round, it looks like he's going to be a really good starter. We better hide him because he can make us fall from 11 to 10 in the draft. You can't think like that as a team, and the Steelers are never going to think like that. If you could be 10-7 with Kirk Cousins, you'll take that over 7-10 with Mason Rudolph.
But why? No one's getting
because
fired.
Because you're in the playoffs. Because we won't kill you all year long. Because then at least you're alive in January. I mean, you're telling me you'd rather have 7-10 with Mason Rudolph than 10-7 with Kirk Cousins. And pretend you're a Steelers fan.
At this particular juncture where I have no prospects even for a long-term quarterback. You just went from Kenny Pickett, clearly not the guy, to a Russell Wilson, Justin Fields combo platter.
Yep.
Where both of those guys are now starting for the two teams in New York that nobody trusts at all. and now we're going to either go Rodgers or Kirk Cousins. This does not feel like a plan.
So what would you do right now? You would just tank. But you're not going to tank because you're the Steelers and you have a lot of old, good players.
Listen,
it's not in the cards. It's not happening.
I think you play the season and keep the flexibility, which you could say, fine, Rodgers, Cousins, there's flexibility.
Yeah, a lot of flexibility.
But I play the season with Rudolph, and I see, and I'm not like, that's not an active tank. That's not like what the Jags and the Jets were doing to try to get Trevor Lawrence a couple years ago, like a cover zero blitz when you're about to win a game against the Raiders. Like, there are ways that you can really, really tank. This is not that. I'm not advocating for that because I know that's an unrealistic pipe dream, and the Steelers are not going to do it. But you throw Mason Rudolph out there, and by the way, making the playoffs all these years, while yes, that's, fine, but A, that's not where Steeler fans are judging this team on, just making the playoffs. I'm sorry, they're not. And two, do you think it was better for them or worse for them that they made the playoffs this year and got run over by the Ravens? Probably could have done without that.
I think it was better that they made a run this year. They were interesting. They kind of wore down.
Made a run. They lost their last 5 games in a row and had to get rid of both quarterbacks.
Yeah, but at least it was better. I'd rather take 10-7 than 7-10. But the other thing too, this team is old. Like, why are you going to tank with T.J. Watt and Cameron Hayward? And there's just no point. I don't know.
But are you winning a Super Bowl with those guys this
year? You're not going to win a
year?
Super Bowl, but how you're going to just win a bunch of games with Mason Rudolph? Nobody wants to see Mason Rudolph for 17 games. You are the only person who physically wants to see that.
I'm not saying I want to. I'm just saying that I don't see a much better option
The
here
problem
for the
is
Steelers.
he's not even a tank quarterback. He's the worst of both options. He's boring and he'll win you enough games to not get a high pick.
You got to deal with the problems that you have. And I know that you think that Rodgers and the Steelers have this handshake agreement behind the scenes. You might be right about that. We'll play you the sound from Rodgers over the weekend. But how gung-ho are we here? Are we coming into the building with the enthusiasm that he came into with the Jets where he said, wow, that Lombardi trophy is looking pretty lonely?
A Jack Harbaugh enthusiasm, no enthusiasm, known demand.
I don't see
How'd that work out for the Jets? I'd actually try something different. Come in laid back.
Yeah, there's no hype. There's nothing. And maybe that's by design. And obviously he's got the things going on in his personal life, which we totally understand. But it just doesn't, it feels like almost you'd be coming in to play for the Steelers because A, you just don't want to retire yet. And 2, you just want to get the stink of the Jets off you.
Okay, well, I will give you one thing about the Steelers. They exceeded expectations last year. I was shocked they were a playoff team. I think we all were. They was like, wait, how is this team with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields winning so many games? Don't you remember them being high on them?
They were like 5-2.
So
right?
what if they get Rodgers, and what if they're a little better than we thought? Because Tomlin's a great coach and they have a great defense. Maybe they'll be a little better than we thought. I mean, if Rodgers is there, the win total is probably 9.5. They could exceed that. I just think that I'd rather go 10-7 with Kirk Cousins, 11-6 with Aaron Rodgers, than 7-10 with Mason Rudolph. I just don't want to see it. You have T.J. Watt there. You probably would have traded him, but you didn't trade him. He's still there. I'm not sure anyone really wants to pay him as much as you're going to have to pay him. So I just think you have to go for it.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Can I hear the Rodgers clip, Manny, where he's asked if he would ever play for the Bears?
Will Aaron Rodgers ever go to the Bears?
Oh, boy. Security, can we get her out of here? Can you security? Security,
can you take it easy on her on this one? No, but I believe there's a team that might play in Chicago this year. Let's go! On a road trip. I don't know. I'm not sure. Gotta check it out. Are you speaking in code? I love Chicago, though. Way more than they love me. It's been a great relationship, all one way.
So the Steelers are visiting the Bears week 12. So.
By the way, Steelers' schedule, easy at the start. Rodgers could come right in there and at least create a positive narrative. Again, this happened last year.
Yeah,
the
that's
Steelers
what happened.
had all their hard teams at the end of their schedule. But they, again, that happens this year. They have a lot of Baltimore, Miami, Detroit, Cleveland, Baltimore at the end of the season. But at Jets have the lowest win total in the league. Seattle, and Seattle's not going to win in Pittsburgh. That's a long trip. The flight will wear their legs down. At New England, Minnesota over in Europe, Cleveland, at Cincinnati, Green Bay, his former team, Indy, in Pittsburgh, that's a lot of success potentially. I'm saying maybe we're underselling them at 10 wins. Maybe this team could be back to Mike Tomlin 13-4, 12-5.
Well, Rodgers has to get there. I mean, he's got to show up. He's got to sign a contract.
Details.
He's got to practice. He's got to get a playbook. I mean, yeah, details.
This is Arthur Smith. Rodgers isn't throwing the ball anywhere anyway. Their offense coordinator wants to run. I don't know. That's actually the least of my worries with Aaron Rodgers about him being at OTAs. In fact, he's so kind of semi-toxic. Keep him away from OTAs. Just bring him into camp.
Yeah, I don't want him going on any more podcasts or whatever.
Yeah,
here's another
exactly.
one from Rodgers. He said that he was asked also about playing for the Saints. So it was like an open mic situation.
Would you ever consider playing for the Saints and making us great again? Because I don't know.
No.
That's the answer.
That's the answer.
All right, next question.
It's no. I've played there a couple times, but no. The answer is no. I'm too old. I don't want to live in Louisiana. Sorry.
I love that. I'm too old.
Well, I don't even totally get it.
Because he can't party, I guess? Like Bourbon Street? I don't know if he was leaning into that.
I thought maybe, is it too humid? Like the swamp air is not good for him?
Play
I didn't
inside.
get it.
Well, he visited in his Enigma documentary on Netflix. He visited his buddy Brett Favre, who's I believe in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, which is right on the border of Louisiana, and apparently didn't like the lifestyle.
I don't even. I think he was leaning into the Bourbon Street stuff. Like he's too old for a city that is that young and vibrant.
Why did he say Louisiana though? He should have just said, I can't live in New Orleans.
All the rich
fair.
foods too. As you get older, you have to worry about your cholesterol. You can't just eat etouffee 7 times a week.
No,
we tried.
Yeah, says who?
Yeah. Yeah, trust me, I get that. If we had spent 3 more days in New Orleans, we would have had to have an ambulance drive us out of that place. Just our arteries.
At the very least. Anyway, so that was just kind of fun. I wonder, so we don't have all the clips of everything that Rodgers got asked. You hand the mic to a crowd, considering some of the topics that Rodgers has touched on in his life. I was wondering how weird that thing was.
I think that's why the age limit seemed to be like 12 on the people asking questions. Both of them were children, look like.
No 28-year-olds allowed to ask questions.
Yeah, no one like packing a lip full of dip.
Yeah, if you have a flannel on, you're above the age of 25, you're not getting a question.
You're not getting
Sorry,
a question.
buddy.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476.
The guy with the I Love Joe Rogan shirt, yeah, no, we're not giving you the mic.
If you can fight for this country, you cannot ask a question.
Probably right.
You know what Rodgers might have been doing? He did Rogan recently. Who knows when he taped it, but it aired, last week? Mm-hmm. So he probably was helping the Steelers avoid. He didn't go on the Joe Rogan podcast as the Steelers quarterback. The Steelers probably appreciated that.
Maybe.
Getting all his offseason crap out of the way. So sure. I think it's honestly because he didn't want to do OTAs and he didn't want the headline of I'm skipping OTAs.
And the stuff in his personal life. But I'm curious.
Oh, I never bought any of that. I assumed it was OTAs.
Oh, I mean, I'd like to give him the benefit of the doubt. That'd be pretty awful. I don't think he's like a bad person.
No, I'm sure. I'm sure it's all
my
real.
My friend's, going through some medical issue as an excuse.
Yeah, but if he was 27 and trying to make the team, he would have gone to camp.
That's why I wonder about the enthusiasm, right? Because he came into the Jets hot, talking about Lombardi.
Yeah, but then he skipped that practice to go to Egypt.
That was the
second
year,
huge problem.
That was the second year. He had already been there for a year for that one. He came in and was talking tough. I mean, I know none of them wanted to do Hard Knocks, but Hard Knocks obviously became a thing. But he was just like being Mr. New York and teammates, and he's got special handshakes with Sauce Gardner, and he was just like the guy. And I don't know if that's what it just doesn't feel like the same energy.
Yeah, thank God.
Well, I think the Jets liked that. I think they wanted that. From
I think the
leadership.
Steelers want to keep their culture as is. I don't think they want Aaron Rodgers to change their culture, right? Tomlin sets the culture there.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476.
The Jets, I don't know if they did want that, but they certainly didn't like it now. Now all they do is complain about it.
I want to make a quick announcement. I don't know how much we want to reveal about what's starting tomorrow.
No.
I think I don't want to say a ton, but we are starting something tomorrow that we are really excited about. Yes. And we've been working on it for a while, and it's going to last for a while, but in a good way. And it's going to be fun, and it's going to make you think, and it's going to make you happy and maybe upset, and it's going to make you get mad at Perloff. No.
That was a quick announcement. It was either neither quick nor an announcement. You could say what it is.
Am I saying what it is?
Definitely, we're doing it.
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Okay, why don't you say what it is?
Okay, so we are going to go across the country, fair to say.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. We're going to go to every major sports city, and we are going to pick our choices for the top 4 athletes from said city. So, for example, can I say the city we're doing tomorrow?
Sure.
We ready? The Big Apple, the top 4 New York City athletes of all time. And we're not calling it Mount Rushmore. We're calling it
Mount Olympus, the 4 sports gods from every city.
Right.
And we have caveats and we've got guidelines, and it's got to be people who played in that city, not people who were born in that city.
Well, yeah, I think actually, right,
Yes.
for the most cases. You could do Wilt Chamberlain in Philadelphia. He was born there.
Well, if it happens to cross over, then perfect. But it's people who played in that city and are sports gods because of what they did. So, no, Mount Rushmore. What do you think? We're a bunch of hacks? No. Mount Olympus is what we do around here. The 4 sports gods from every great sports city across this amazing nation and Canada.
Even though I think there are 13 gods on Mount Olympus.
Details. details on our Mount Olympus.
Yeah, so it's
Different Mount Olympus.
By the way, it sounds easy, right? Sounds super easy. It's impossible. We've gotten in arguments of every city from sea to shining sea. It's almost there's not a single city that we can agree on. And the other thing too is 4 is an impossible number.
Yes.
You take a big enough city, you got 10 surefire top tier Hall of Famers, and to narrow it down to 4 is a very hard task.
So that starts tomorrow, the Maggie and Perloff tour across the country and Canada to find the 4 sports gods of every city, the Mount Olympus, if you will. There you go. We're excited about it. And it's something we're working on, and we've got graphics and sound and lights and smoke and everything.
Any city you could think of mostly will be cities you probably live in or have lived in, so there'll be a lot of personal aspects to this as well.
Yeah,
people who are on the show who have lived in these cities, so they'll have very big opinions. I feel like even just a preparation for this thing has led to like 700 sports debates.
By the way, I don't think you have to live in the city at all. I've jumped in fully on many cities that I've only been to twice.
I
It
know.
does not matter.
Perloff has some crazy opinions about the Mount Olympus of Minneapolis. Have you been there once?
Minneapolis?
Yeah.
Minneapolis I've been to many, many times.
Like that! So anyway, that's what we're
Yeah.
starting tomorrow. It's going to be super exciting, and we hope that you will join us and enjoy it and weigh in. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. As Perloff said, sounds easy. It is not. So we're going to kick it off tomorrow with New York, but it's not just going to be big markets. We're going to hit everything, every great sports town in this country.
I was at a wedding in Minneapolis.
How'd it go?
Canceled the day of.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
You
God.
do not want to start on what
Bruce?
happened. Bruce. No. It was.
What happened?
I can't give away. Basically, a distant relative died. I don't know. For some reason, they called it off.
Oh.
Then they got married, and then it lasted about a year.
Oh, that's bad.
All those hoops just for a year?
Wait, but it was so somebody. It wasn't because somebody left somebody at the altar. Not
No,
that
it wasn't
kind of-
left. No.
But
The
maybe that
couple-
would have been better off.
The couple did not break up by any means. The wedding was canceled.
Oh man, that's a shame. And then they broke up a year later.
I don't know if it was a year or two later. I don't want to give any more details because I'm
Okay.
going to get in big trouble if anyone in my family is listening.
What do they say is the statute of limitations on gifts?
A year, right?
Is it a year? If you get divorced within a year, you got to give everything back.
Oh,
right?
that's a thing? I didn't even know that.
I think it's a.
If you
I
get
think that's
divorced within a
etiquette.
year, you have to give the presents back?
I thought that's an etiquette thing. Am I wrong?
I've never heard that.
I feel like I have heard that.
I thought you had a year to get a present. That's the etiquette.
That you also have. I
Yeah,
think you
I've
do have
never
a year
heard
to
the-
give a present.
Isn't it quite rare to get divorced within a year? Or
Well,
is that?
yes.
If you're not like a celebrity?
Yeah, I think like an annulment, like a Britney Spears type of thing.
Do you get your deposit back if you...
No. The
What if it-
deposit's the deposit.
What if it gets canceled a la that situation?
Probably not. The day of, like you can't tell the caterer, sorry, we don't need those. We don't need 400 filet mignons anymore.
Marriage is just a money grab. That's all that it is, marriage.
I actually don't buy this. Not that I'm and as someone who's about to get married, I promise I'm not trying to get a divorce in a year. But I feel like, aren't you also kind of paying for like you being there? Isn't that the point?
Yeah. I've never heard this, and I can't imagine the logistics of actually giving presents back. Like you're going to give that blender back to the O'Dooley's? Like, get out of here. What, are you going to ship it back? Like go into the FedEx store and ship all that stuff back?
You know, maybe it's if you call off the wedding before you go through with it.
Maybe. Okay.
I got to go to like, what are these etiquette things? Like Peggy Post or whatever? It's considered, this is AI overview, which we established last week, is the worst. They say if a wedding's called off, it's standard to return all the gifts that you received, including the shower and engagement gifts. So there you go. So maybe not for divorce.
You're never going to see those again.
Yeah, no, there's just the logistics of getting them back. Forget it.
I'm keeping them.
Well,
you're going to start divvying up like toasters and hand towels.
You guys will never hear from me again. I'm just going to take all your gifts and just run.
Oh, it's just a racket. You're just running a scam.
Well, where's this fake woman?
It's all part of the ploy.
Talking about AI generated.
Yep, AI generated.
888-710-4ISN.
What?
Okay. Lots more to do, including our pal Jory Epstein, who's going to join us to talk Cowboys next. She was also at the NFL owners meeting, so we got tons to cover with Jory and headlines as well. It's M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
In the world of sports talk, under digital skies, lives a fan named Ostrich Eyes 87 with a heart twice the size. He logs on to Twitch where the streams flow like dreams. Uncle Sam's on YouTube, tune in for some laughs, with a beer in his hand and his feet on the grass. He cheers for the Bogusch and Perloff with a toast to the day. 4th of July is the best, you'll hear him say. Raise your glass like the sky, it's the 4th once more. Uncle Sam's got stories that you can't ignore. From Maggie to Perloff, he's got quite the plan to celebrate freedom with a drink in his hand. Uncle of the year with a patriotic twist, watching sports and sipping brews, none he's missed. He jokes and he laughs, spills some too, it's alright, cause Drunkle Sam. Down in San Antonio, there's a man you should know. Kevin Lamelli puts on quite a show. 50 push-ups, 50 sit-ups with your squats in a row. A workout machine, he's got that morning glow. Kevin Lamelli, breakfast king. It's that time near the sun sings. Sometimes it's oatmeal, he's keeping it clean, but every single morning he's living the dream.
This is Andrew Perloff with a Sports Minute. This is Andrew Perloff with an Odyssey Sports Minute. The Knicks-Pacers Eastern Conference Finals is starting to shape up a little bit like last year's Knicks-Pacers series. New York was up 2-0 and on the brink of winning Game 3. Indy came back and managed to win the series. Now the Pacers were on the verge of going up 3-0 themselves, but they blew Game 3. We'll see if the Knicks can get revenge and do the same thing. One thing is for sure, this is going to be a battle. Every game has been close, and no lead is safe for these two very...
Tunes into Maggie and Perloff on YouTube each day. Comments rolling in, got plenty to say. But there's one thing missing that's becoming a trend. Where's Manny at? Didn't he just begin? Like his miserable Lonnie, he's ghosting the crew. Consistently MIA, what's a viewer to do? Down in San Antonio, the tacos are divine. Kevin's counting down, Wemby's right there in line. He says, Perloff, come join us, or we all know the score. Andrew hits some drives, he ain't leaving his door. Tacos and Wemby, it's a Texan delight. But Perloff won't show, not even for a bite. Wheelchair squats, he makes it look easy. Breaking a sweat, while others stay breezy. Meanwhile, Manny's got a new full-time gig, but missing work like Peter, it's getting big. Kevin will never breakfast king. Pancakes stacked high, hear the syrup sing. Sometimes it's oatmeal, he's keeping it clean. But every single morning he's living the dream. So reach a fork to Kevin, the man of the hour. With tacos and pancakes, he's got all the power. San Antonio's hero, he's making life.
.45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
For our Mount Olympus segment starting tomorrow, Manny, you getting us all hyped up for that?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Manny discovers Phil Collins.
Bogusch, are you into this? This
the song.
Did you hear our big announcement for tomorrow?
Yes, I did.
The big announcement is tomorrow we are starting a new segment that we're going to go through all the best sports cities in America and Canada, and we're going to find the 4 sports gods of that city. We're calling it Mount Olympus. Maggie Perloff's Mount Olympus.
So I'm not saying sports gods.
Well,
I'm just saying the top 4.
Okay. But it's not a Mount Rushmore, guys, because that's for hacks.
Why do you want to say sports gods?
I don't know. It's a lot loaded.
It's too religious.
Like a loaded comment there.
Oh my God.
It's blasphemy.
But
this is sports radio, Perloff. Blasphemy is basically like in our job description.
Mount Rushmore is a trademark. I just think that there's a lot of emphasis on gods there when we're going to have.
I'm gonna say it as sports gods.
Yeah.
Just the right emphasis there, EJ.
It's like,
I can't wait for Perloff to see the graphic of him in a toga.
Oh yeah, he hasn't seen that yet. I've already seen it.
I've seen it in person. It's not good.
True.
I have pictures of me in college. We used to do a lot of toga parties at Dartmouth. Those were exciting.
Wow. Way to lean in.
Yeah, we loved it. Yeah, it was Animal House. So Animal House was written at Dartmouth, so you had to do as many toga parties as humanly possible.
I never thought that was actually a real thing. I thought it was just a movie thing. You
guys
literally wore a toga and did a toga party?
We did probably 15 toga parties.
Crazy.
I probably went to class at a toga. Wait, did you guys not do toga parties?
I went to commuter school, so we didn't have a campus.
And I went to school in the 2010, so.
No.
That's an old person thing?
Yeah, I don't recall anybody togaing around, even when my brother was in college.
Oh,
that's in the early aughts.
In the early 2010s.
Oh, okay. I have no idea.
Did you ever toga?
I do have a vague memory of that.
Wow.
When you're like, oh, I'm in college. That's what you do.
It's vague because he was obliterated.
No. It's just that
long ago. It's just a long time ago. I'm sorry.
1998, 99 is a long time ago.
Wow. Mike Piazza just became a Met when you were in college.
Is that your reference point?
Yeah, because we were just joking about Todd Hundley being a Met. His birthday today, and Manny was like, who's that? I was like, wow.
There ain't no Benny Agbayani, I'll tell you that much.
Wait, Maggie, did you? So you went to GW, the city
togas.
school, no toga parties? Did you have frat parties?
Yeah, there were frats, not like big, and my best friend went to the University of Maryland, so we used to go there to the frat parties. Never a toga party, never donned a toga. We did other types of themes.
Yeah, I mean, my school, with the guy who wrote Animal House went to my college, so Animal House was a very important part of the. It still is. I know they have toga parties still, although.
Smash anybody's guitar?
Well, fraternities are very illegal. You know, like there's been a national movement against fraternities, and for a lot of reasons.
Charles Barkley hates fraternities. I don't know if you saw that random rant he had on Inside the NBA.
This weekend?
Yeah,
it was like last week.
They're not always great.
They got
some downside.
It's the people who make them up.
He's an idiot in the food.
No, I don't think so. It's the structure of them. You know, they want, it's like a bullying system, and they push each other to do terrible things.
Right?
Yeah, and I'm not sure it always works. And yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't want my kids to go to a heavy fraternity school.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't do sorority, but a lot of people did, and they have lifelong friends.
Are they really friends, though?
Yeah, really are. I'm serious. Let's go to Dominic. He's in San Francisco. He's got a question about the Mount Olympus. What's up, Dom?
Hi, welcome back. I hope you had a great holiday weekend.
Same to you, pal. What's up?
I was wondering, I'm hoping there's not a prerequisite that it's got to include the 4 major sports, just the 4 greatest players from that city. Not from that city, but played the bulk of their careers in that city.
Yep.
Correct. Good distinction. So our Mount Olympus segment starts tomorrow, the 4 sports gods of each city. And no, it does not have to be one from each major sport, because we have a lot of cities in here, Dom, that don't have the 4 major sports.
Like Kenosha.
Right. That was the reason for my question, because football for San Francisco is a slam dunk without giving anything away. I mean, we've already got 2 of them. One of them is debatable. The other one is etched in stone.
Sure.
Ooh, who's the debatable one?
The debatable one is Montana.
Save it, Tom.
The one that's etched in stone is Jerry Rice.
Yeah, I thought you were going that way.
Yeah. We also
Brock Purdy.
Not yet.
Deebo Samuel. We have. We also.
Mahomes has been exposed.
We have a roadmap. Dom, thank you for the question, because that's a good distinction. No, it does not have to be one from each of the 4 major sports. And honestly, I think there are going to be some cities that are so known for certain things that maybe one of the 4 major sports is not represented. Anyway, we have a lot to reveal, but we also have a roadmap for you of which cities we're doing on which day. So we're planning this out, and we're going to release that on social media tomorrow. So
I think
much
Dom's
like a band on tour for the summer, you'll get it.
I think Dom's question was, if you have a city with 4 pro sports teams, it doesn't mean you have to have 1 from each team.
No. Yeah, it's a great question.
You could go 3 from one sport and 1 from another.
Yep, break it down however you want.
Or you could go off the board. It's funny. I was just thinking, there's only a handful. Like, what other sports would be represented? Boxing, I think, will sneak in a couple times.
I think that there's college sports that are going to sneak in a couple of these cities for sure. So you said the 4 majors, but I think we are going to get college players for sure. Like, not to give things away, but in a city like Miami.
What's Miami?
Are you joking? You work with a Hurricanes fan. You got to be joking.
Hurricanes?
Just for example.
Maybe Baton Rouge or Tuscaloosa, Alabama, but Miami's a pro town.
Man, he cut his mic.
Miami, come
town.
on. From a middling ACC program, is it going to get into the Mount Olympus? Come on.
This is when Perloff tries to agitate EJ. Okay, so we're going to hang off on that for a second. We're going to welcome in our guest, Jory Epstein from Yahoo Sports joins us. She is a national NFL reporter and also really covers the Cowboys closely. And we always love to catch up with the Cowboys whenever we can. Jory, thanks for the time. How you doing?
Maggie Perloff, great to be here. I am doing well. How are y'all doing?
We're doing great. So, okay, I know it's a little bit of old stuff, and I was just thinking to Perloff, I'm like, man, Cowboys have felt a little quiet lately. Oh, right. George Pickens. It hasn't been a quiet offseason for the Cowboys at all. Now that the dust is settled, where do you think the expectations now are with Dallas after the Pickens trade?
I'm fascinated to see what the Dallas Cowboys do, because to me, the biggest question was, where's their run game coming from? Yes, they got a couple older free agents, but I really think you have to ask yourself after last year, where are the Cowboys getting their run game? And then you can say, well, I don't know. I think it helped when for Saquon Barkley, who obviously different caliber of running back than what the Cowboys will have. But think about what he did with the Giants cast, and think about what he did when he had A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith commanding attention. Well, now the Cowboys have CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens commanding attention, and they feel like 1A, 1B, both number ones. That's how CeeDee Lamb has described it. They feel like from an offensive standpoint, which they really needed to improve on last year, 2 biggest things are you got multiple receiver options commanding attention, and you drafted a first-round offensive lineman so that you feel like hopefully you can shore up Dak's protection and allow him to read the field.
Jory, the other day, I think it was the other day, CeeDee Lamb said, I view us both, me and George Pickens, as number one wide receivers, kind of implying he's happy to share the ball. That sounds great in May. Come October, if there's a game where CeeDee Lamb only gets 5 targets, do you think he's still going to be okay sharing the football?
I'm so glad you asked this because I was watching George Pickens' interview that he did with reporters at OTAs, and it was like, in Pittsburgh, I learned never get too high, never get too low. And I'm kind of thinking, respectfully, I'm not sure everyone in Pittsburgh would say that you never got too high and never got too low. But I hope that you have that in Dallas.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I will say the encouraging note would be that first-year head coach Brian Schottenheimer is like the king of culture, and he was inviting George Pickens to dinner here, free throw contest there. I mean, all these different things as soon as he got in the building to try and help build that. But I completely agree with you. It's easy to say that in May, but we've seen both George and CeeDee at different games say, like, why aren't you throwing me the ball to their quarterback? Now, Dak Prescott's going to be the best quarterback that George Pickens has played with in the NFL on a consistent basis. So there is some reason for optimism, but I think it's unrealistic that if they're losing, they're not going to expect it. Now, you can say if they're winning, I think that everything will be fine, or mostly fine, at least externally. But I think if they're losing, each of them is going to think they should be getting more of a role.
Jory Epstein's joining us from Yahoo Sports. So, I think got to give Cowboys the credit where it's due here. I don't know if they deserve full credit on this one, but I thought the Pickens trade was good, and the fact they didn't pay him right away or haven't paid him yet, I think is a nice little carrot for George Pickens to try to get the best out of him. What does Pickens have to show the Cowboys brass to get a long-term deal? Is it just like, is it 1,000-yard receiver? Is it not being a distraction? Like, what do you think he's being judged on?
Hey, you touched on a lot of it, Maggie, but I'd say 3 things. The first is production. Obviously, you need guys to produce if you're going to pay them, and that looks like catches. That looks like, hey, big third down plays if you're going to him, which, again, I think CeeDee will still be, in my opinion, the primary option. Make sure you're making the plays when it matters most. I would say, secondly, you need to coexist well with CeeDee Lamb. You are already locked up to CeeDee Lamb. They paid him a huge deal. Only Justin Jefferson is making more as a receiver than CeeDee Lamb. So that's where it starts, and George has to fit in with CeeDee. And I would say the third thing is, what's your attitude like? I mean, yeah, it works out well for the Cowboys, as you said, that if it doesn't work out this year, okay, they lose him in a year. And by the way, that 3rd-round pick that they just paid for him, they're probably getting a comp pick that's pretty similar for letting a guy go from their roster. So it's really not a whole lot to get a guy for $3 million. But I think it's produce, coexist with CeeDee, and make sure that you are at least not hurting the locker room and ideally enhancing its culture.
Jory, what was your reaction to schedule release? What's it, a Tuesday or a Wednesday? Cowboys have a really tough schedule. The whole NFC East has a tough schedule this year, and I know their win total is down, I think mainly because of the schedule. Is there optimism? Did people squint in and see, like, okay, it could be worse? But I look at them, I see a lot of really challenging games on that slate.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that you definitely do. And it's funny, when I was at the NFL owners meetings last week, someone was talking about the playoff seeding, and they're like, so much of who makes these wild card spots is which divisions are you playing against? Are you playing against the NFC South, or are you playing against the AFC North? And I think that's totally true. I had a defensive coach in the AFC North tell me years ago, when the Cowboys had their 3 straight 12-5 seasons, that coach told me, yeah, if I were in the NFC East, I could go 12-5 every year also. Now, this was before the Eagles were winning the Super Bowl, before the Cowboys had Jaden Daniels, but that coach felt like 12 wins in the NFC East were similar to 9 games in the AFC North at that point. So I would say similarly, I mean, it's just a tough stretch. I mean, if you're the Cowboys, you host the Eagles, and then a few days later on Thanksgiving, you host the Chiefs. Then you got the Lions, the Vikings, the Chargers, the Commanders, and just back to back to back at the end of that season. November and December, it's a really tough stretch. So I definitely think it will be difficult. But if you're the Cowboys, I would say you actually want that. I'd be less concerned about that and more concerned about the season opener, not your opener, but the season opener for the NFL. The Cowboys visit the Eagles on Thursday Night Football in Philadelphia. And I'm saying, well, I've got a first-year head coach, an offensive line that's probably not going to be settled because no offensive lines are. And I've got a rookie I'm trotting out there to start, and a receiver who hasn't played real time with the quarterback. So if I'm Dallas, I'd rather have the tough games in November than in September.
Jory Epstein's joining us from Yahoo Sports, all things NFL, and with a Cowboys tinge to it because she knows the team so well. You mentioned you were at the owners' meetings. Jerry Jones did vote against the tush push, right? He wanted to ban the play and kind of just said because we can't stop it. I mean, he kind of just said because it's kind of like this unstoppable play. Do you think that maybe not with Prescott, because he said probably too many injuries to his lower body, and I don't know if he's that kind of quarterback. But do you see the Cowboys incorporating a tush push? Like some teams run it without the quarterback, right? Like I think the Ravens are running it with Andrews. Thank you. Would they do something like this? Are they going to try to sort of join the party now that the tush push lives?
I don't really see them joining the party. A lot of this is who is your personnel. I mean, they've had times where they brought in a defensive tackle as a fullback and different things like that. I mean, I remember Antoine Wood's defensive tackle. He really came over and played on offense for a couple snaps for that purpose when I was covering the Cowboys several years back. But I don't expect that. And I talked to Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones about this. Stephen Jones sits on the competition committee. And I think there are a couple elements to this. I mean, the competition committee was against this play continuing on or pro the ban, however you want to say this, in part because even though there wasn't already a track record of severe injuries, the projection models that the NFL has say that with guys putting their heads down for this play, if there were an injury to be suffered, they're more concerned it's a catastrophic injury to the neck area, for example. So there's that element. And there's also just the, do you think it's a football play or do you think it's a rugby play? And I don't think that the competition committee particularly thought that. Now, I talked to Jerry Jones also, not only this meeting, but 6 weeks prior in Palm Beach. And one of the fascinating things that I appreciated him telling me on the record was he said, look, sometimes when the team gets really, really good at a play, we change it because this is an entertainment business. And if someone's just winning every single time, then we don't want that. That's not good TV. That's not good entertainment. So Jerry told me that then. And then, of course, he went a little bit viral when he told us last week. He said, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about my vote and I have to ask myself, do I not like the play or do I just not want the Eagles to get an edge? And Jerry's laughing and it's cheek and tongue, but I was cracking up because my mentions were blowing up of everyone being like, well, at least one team owner is honest about where they're coming from on this.
Yeah, honesty coming from Jones is like an all-time upset too.
Is this an adjustment for fans in Dallas to just openly admit they're terrified of the Philadelphia Eagles? From Philadelphia, Jory. I just want to point that out. They admit that they're the B team in this division?
I know, now that I'm based in New York, I might not have the perfect pulse on this, but I was at a wedding of people from Dallas this week, and I'll tell you, because you brought this up, that the wedding, I was in Milwaukee for a wedding, and it was a Packers family and a Cowboys family, and the father of the bride just gets up there and talks incessantly about this, and it's like all these Cowboys fans are like, what are we supposed to do? It's your daughter's wedding. You're the father of the bride. I would say terrified might be a strong word, but I will tell you that there are people in my family who are Cowboys fans who are like, yeah, it's not in our best interest to be playing in that season opener. You do not want that. I mean, again, this is fresh off the Super Bowl versus new coach, new receiver, new offensive line. So come later in the season, I will say Dak Prescott's record against the Eagles in the NFC East is like far above what the Cowboys playoff records, et cetera, have been. And the other thing I'll say is Stephen Jones reiterated this to me last week. Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts have not played each other that many times because one of them has been hurt multiple times, et cetera. And so that's one of the things that I'm excited about is if the Cowboys can get to a point where they're competitive routinely with the Eagles, that Dak-Jalen rivalry for their teams that they're leading can be a great one.
Do you know Maggie's a Bills fan and she married a Bills fan? I think they had Jim Kelly was on top of the wedding cake. Like a football-themed wedding is right up our alley.
Yeah, we play Shout, but the Bills version.
So that means, Maggie, you've got Hard Knocks during training camp, and Perloff, you'll have the in-season NFC East Hard Knocks later in the season. So you guys will have plenty to talk about, and your listeners should be very interested because I do not understand how the New York Giants are back on Hard Knocks. You'd think they got like a 10-year moratorium. Those poor guys, like if I'm John Mara, if I'm Dable and Shane, I'm like, please, you already got a lot of great content out of me.
Fair. 30 seconds left, Jory. You were at the owners' meetings. Belichick talk? As far as what's going on, and Pablo Torre is doing a lot of reporting here and kind of zeroing in that maybe the relationship with Jordan Hudson could be one of the factors why he wasn't hired the last cycle and decided to go to college. Was there a lot of chatter about that in Minneapolis or no?
There wasn't chatter about that as a reason he wasn't hired for the NFL. I think that the primary reason he wasn't hired is because he wanted more power than owners currently want their coaches to have. There was definitely a lot of conversation. I think that New York Times article on their relationship dropped at the meeting. So yes, Belichick's name was regularly in people's mouth.
Yeah. Jory Epstein, you can read her Yahoo Sports, listen to her as well. Podcast is fantastic. Thank you, Jory. We appreciate you weighing in on all things Cowboys, NFC East, and NFL.
Maggie Perloff, great to be on with you. Good to see you.
Appreciate that, Jory. Okay, we got to take a quick break. We've got more to do. We've got headlines for you from Andrew Bogusch and also a story from college football that we must bring you. It's M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, the Defensive Player of the Week is sponsored by Navy Federal Credit Union, proudly celebrating all who go above and beyond during Military Appreciation Month. Learn more at NavyFederal.org/celebrate. Our members are the mission, of course. Thinking about our veterans, yesterday, I think EJ picked this. He did Caruso last week, Alex Caruso. So he's going to go with another Thunder. He's going to go with the Dorter Chamber, who's a safe standby. Or even though they did let up a lot of points, I think it's going Lou Dort for Defensive Player of the Week. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought it was definitely Lou Dort. I have not checked the WNBA box scores, to be fair. I know EJ likes to dabble in the WNBA, but that's all I can really think of, unless there's like a web gem that I'm really missing.
The Cornell lacrosse goalie. It was Cornell? Some team won for the first.
Cornell,
yeah.
Since 1977. Shout out to Cornell.
I'll go with the Pacers Game 3, fourth quarter.
Pacers on themselves.
I appreciate that defense. No, the Defensive Player of the Week this week is Natasha Cloud of the New York Liberty, who came up with the late steal on Caitlin Clark to secure a comeback victory over the Indiana Fever. Natasha Cloud had 5 steals in that game, and her defense on Caitlin Clark, who shot just 6 for 18 in that game, was a big difference and had 10 turnovers that game as well. So shout out to Natasha Cloud. Big offseason acquisition for the Liberty. Libs win 90-88. Natasha Cloud, your Defensive Player of the Week.
Clark wanted a foul on that play, desperately.
Clean strip.
Andrew Bogusch has headlines for us on this busy Tuesday. What's up,
Come on, man.
Guys, they call him the Minnesota Hammer. Anthony Edwards, 62 points over games 2 and 3.
Do they call him the Minnesota?
That's an hour one callback.
Oh, the Scottish Hammer?
Exactly.
Oh.
That's
the Scottish Hammer.
The Giants punter?
Yep. Jamie
/ a round of shots that you buy for people at a bar.
There's a Hebrew Hammer, Hank Greenberg.
Yeah.
That's right.
Couple hammers.
The 62
that
points
came out wrong.
for Edwards over game 2 and 3 of the Western Conference Finals. So the Thunder changed some things for game 4 last night, and Edwards took only 13 shots, scoring only 16 points.
Definitely not the points I wanted to get, but I mean, they didn't really let me get too many shots off. They did a good job of that.
Former Knicks hammer Julius Randle scored just 5 points, 1 of 7 shooting. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scored 40. Jalen Williams adding 34. The Thunder holding on for a 128-126 win and a 3-1 series edge. Their first chance to reach the NBA Finals tomorrow night at home. Tonight, it's Game 4 in Indiana. Either the Pacers copy the Thunder and take a 3-1 lead, or the Knicks get all the way even. Aaron Nesmith is a game-time decision after hurting his right ankle, but finishing Game 3 on Sunday night. Just mentioned Caitlin Clark in that game with the Liberty on Saturday. She hurt her left quad, didn't say anything until after the game. Now, the Fever say she's out at least 2 weeks, which would be at least 4 games, including the next scheduled meeting with Angel Reese. That game already moved to United Center in Chicago and scheduled to be on CBS TV. But unless Clark comes back sooner than expected, that showdown is not going to include her. The Carolina Hurricanes were staring in the face of a 4th consecutive sweep in the Eastern Conference Final, but they won Game 4 in Florida last night 3-0, extending their season and ending their 15-game drought in this round. Head coach Rod Brindamore with a post-game shrug.
You know what? I didn't even think about that, but that's nice. I mean, it means so like nothing to these guys because half of them aren't here, and but it's been a story. So, yeah, it's nice to not have to talk about that.
Game 5 in Carolina tomorrow night. And Americans Coco Gauff and Sophia Kenin plus Alex Zverev on the men's side have already won on day 3 at the French Open. Novak Djokovic is on center court now. Guys, back to you.
Bogusch, thank you so much. Let's get a temperature check here from EJ and Manny. You got your Knicks playing tonight, down 2-1 to the Pacers. Confidence level is where?
5.
Out of 10.
Mid. Yeah, just middle.
Okay.
And these games are unpredictable. Anything can happen.
That is true. But if you lose this game, series over or no?
No. Knicks have had. I've been saying it for the last 2 days. The Pacers-Knicks rivalry, you would think that if you just watch the national media, it's just Reggie Miller pantsing the Knicks at half court every game.
Yeah.
Like, there are also a lot of Knicks comebacks in those series to allow those series to go 7 games, which is why they're memorable. So Reggie Miller and the Pacers have put the Knicks in bad situations before. The Knicks have been able to dig themselves out in the past. I know that was the 90s, but I'm hoping that we see some of that here. Even if they lose this game, I think going back to Garden, must-win game again. I think they find a way to at least get back to Indiana.
Manny, are you also at a 5?
Confidence level to win tonight? Why are you laughing?
Because it's either a 2 or a 12. I can't tell if you are completely heartbroken or just guaranteeing victory.
I really don't know how I feel right now.
Okay.
I just feel anxiety. I feel, look, if the Knicks lose tonight, I'm going to be apoplectic. I'm going to be down in the dumps again.
We've seen that.
I don't think.
You look like Kenny from South Park.
I don't think they'll do what EJ says and come back from a 3-1 series. My faith would be at an all-time low if they lose tonight.
Well, you would think that eventually Brunson's going to turn an ankle or something.
Why
don't say that.
So you know,
that is not right.
No, it's a reverse jinx. Now Brunson's going to be fully healthy and put up
and
a
the
50
Pacers,
burger.
that's the NBA. Whoever gets hurt will lose.
But right now, Neesmith is hurt, which is good for the Knicks right now.
I'm back. I'm 100% in. Let's
12.
go Knicks.
Let's go.
I'm a 12
It's a
right
12.
now. Let's go Knicks.
Folks, that was so accurate, man. He lives no other. -2 or 14.
I'm back down to a 2. I'm back down to a 2. Anxiety's back.
You can find out tomorrow on the Maggie and Perloff Show. Plus, we debut Mount Olympus tomorrow. Thank you, EJ, Manny, Bogusch, and Kaplan.
You're in a 5-minute.